And a most gracious good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Charles Phoenix. Welcome to Southern California in the 50s. I am very excited about this show because I am quite passionate about, yes, Southern California in the 50s. But before we get started, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your support, and thank you for tuning in and making it possible for me to do what I love doing, and that is celebrating classic and kitschy American life and style. I was born to do it. It's my passion. It's my fashion. So I am living my best life, and doing that is doing this. And you are making that possible. And so for that, I am greatly appreciative. So are you guys ready to rock and roll here? Oh, before we get started, a couple of things. I want to say that the vast majority of the images in the show are from my collection of found Kodachrome slides. There's also a few postcards in here and a few other things just to for a little mix and mingle there. But anyway, yeah, I'm really excited about this show, and well, for several reasons. Among them, we might as well get it out in the open. In Southern California in the 50s, the mood is up. Prosperity rules, and the standard of living is flying high. And we're going there, east, west, north, and south. I have got my clicker, and we are ready to go. First of all, the centerpiece of the known universe, that is Southern California, is Disneyland. We might as well get it out in the open. I love this hand-drawn map. First of all, just the color theory, the whimsy of all the little illustrations, like the guy on Mount Baldy up there skiing, the airplane coming into LAX on the left. On the lower left, the little boat going to Avalon. In the middle on the bottom, I love the deep sea diver there. And right next door to Disneyland, yes, the Orange Grove. Imagine the vast majority of the spaces and places and experiences that we are going to have in the show. Imagine all of them perfumed by the sweet scent of citrus blossoms in the springtime. Yes, because Southern California is charmed with many of Mother Nature's glorious offerings, from the mountaintops to the seashores to the desert scapes. Yes, indeed. But we're going to the center of town right now. This is indeed the most important crossroads in all of Southern California. This is the Highway High Rise, also known as the Four Stack, in downtown Los Angeles. Built in the year of 1949, it was the first highway high-rise ever built and the prototype for all that followed. Isn't it gorgeous? I know, it's still there and relatively original, you guys. So when you come to Hollywood, when you go to downtown Los Angeles, you're going to experience this, and you are going to have that very mid-century modern motoring feeling when you, I don't know which direction you're going, if you're going this way, this way, or that way, but you're going some way, and you are going to feel the glory of this monumental feat of mid-century engineering. I know. Yes, the freeway continues. Here we are on the Hollywood freeway going north toward the San Fernando Valley. In the far distance there, that mountain, you can barely see on the upper right, it says Hollywood. That is the Hollywood sign. Those coming this way are about to, on the other side, coming toward us, they are about to approach the highway high rise. And for those who just want to pull over and enjoy the traffic, no problem. There is a parking lot, a parking lane in the middle, thoughtfully landscaped for your pleasure and mine. Oh, you're going to move to Southern California, you're going to need a house. Definitely. I love this one. This is a 1950s basic bungalow tract home. It is absolutely form follows function, mid-century minimalism, modern meets ranch. Yes, it has elements of both. I love the color theory. I don't know about you, but I love an architectural rendering. I love the mint green. I love the redwood color. I love the yellow curtains. I love the landscaping. I love the fence. And don't you love the car poser driveway? I know. Yes, you do. And this, you guys, I just had to show you. Okay, I have to tell you where I got this. This is actually a screen grab from a movie called No Down Payment, made in 1957, which has to do with suburban Southern California living. It's kind of a bizarre movie. But anyway, I just love, they're driving down the freeway and they have a shot of this billboard, Dutch Haven, a house you'll be proud of for generations to come. Tract homes, you guys. Southern California, basically in the 1950s, was the era when all the orange groves got replaced by tract homes. And everybody virtually could afford a tract home in Southern California. But they were not all just ordinary basic styles like the one you just saw. Many of them were storybook gingerbread houses. And I don't know about you, but I love them. I actually grew up in one. But by the way, the most bizarre thing about this billboard, you guys, is that there's a family there. The dad in the background, like, and the little boy with the dog, and mother, who is like the superhero, supersized person on the billboard there, is expecting, and she is in maternity clothes. But that's not the most outrageous thing about this billboard, you guys. I know, can you believe it? The most bizarre thing about this is that the house is only $10,500 or $52 a month. Can you believe it? I know. Where do we begin to behold the glory of this gorgeous gingerbread home? This is more like a slightly larger home, probably a custom-built home, but it has all of the features, well, many of the features of a classic ranch-style Southern California 1950s home. The shake roof, used brick fireplace, diamond window panes, scallop trim, kind of that slat wood siding there, and the crisscross on the garage door, kind of like a barn door. Oh, you want a barn style home? No problem. You want to take your ranch full farm tilt? No problem. The only thing missing here is a bale of hay and you in the front yard with your cow and your chickens singing in your overalls and your straw hat and your corncob pipe singing, "Oh, MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, with a quack quack here." Oh, and ducks. You got to have ducks and a duck pond. Anyway, and a wishing well. Oh, and a wishing well in the front yard. I know. And by the way, don't you love that 1954 Oldsmobile 98 Starfire convertible? Yes, you do. I know. You guys, I love houses that want to be a barn, don't you? This is a house that had a baby with a barn. And here is some more kind of ranchy ranch, barny barn houses, farmy farm houses in the background there. But up front, I don't know who these people are. They're your mother's friends from high school, or they're your Aunt Myrtle and Uncle Freddie. They are beautifully dressed. He in a suit of a lightweight woolen, white shirt, nice tie to match, and she in a black sheath, complete with, I don't know, is that a carnation on her bosom there? And one single strand of pearls, bleach blonde hair. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, they have arrived. They have really arrived in their all-new, for 1959, Series 62 convertible by Cadillac. Yes, indeed. And by the way, you guys, it's white. I always call classic cars that are white, I call them doves. This is a dove of a car. But we're not talking about doves right now. We're not talking about 59 Cadillacs. We're not talking about the people, their fashions, or the barnyard back there. We're talking about the fact these people are new to town. They haven't bought their house yet. They need a place to stay fine. How about here at the Farmhouse Motel in Riverside, you guys? Built in 1958. Free TV and radios. I mean, this is all just too much for me. This is the motel that wants to be a farm. I know, complete with a fiberglass horse, dragging a antique buggy, a trough, like you pump the water in the trough. Instead, it's a geranium planter, and the used brick fireplace, the gingerbread trim, the scallop trim, and of course, the almighty important diamond window panes. Not to mention, the ultimate color for a barn-style house is that kind of barn red. And I don't know about you, but I just love it. And yes, let's take a moment and appreciate the drunken letters on the sign there. So I have to say, sadly, this has been demolished. It stood there from 1958 until about 10 years ago in Riverside. As has this been demolished. I know, this isn't a show about what's been demolished or not, but, well, it's the 50s. It was a long time ago. Skate Ranch, I will never forget. When we used to go to Disneyland or Knott's Berry Farm, you would always, on the 5 freeway, you would always see Skate Ranch on the side of the freeway. And every time we passed by, I was like, oh, there it is. It was a giant barn, and it said Skate Ranch just like this. and I never went there roller skating. Yeah, it's a roller skating rink, you guys, built in 1956. It probably lasted until the 80s. And anyway, later on, I was told by people, because I brought it up in conversation, of course, whenever I'm around, people of a certain age in Orange County, I'm like, oh, did you ever go to Skate Ranch? Yes. And I'll never forget, one of them said they used to have like chickens running around the parking lot. Of course, it wasn't paved. Oh no, that wouldn't be farm-like, would it? No. Cock-a-doodle-doodle-doo! And right next door was this. Yes, it is the Farmhouse Restaurant and the Buttery. This was the icon, the beacon, the eye catcher for two restaurants that sat right beside the 5 freeway, the Golden State Freeway, right near Knott's Berry Farm in Disneyland, you guys. So I remember in the late 70s going to the Buttery once, and it was like this very kind of country kitchen buffet and everything. Oh, it was just wonderful. But don't you love this windmill in neon, you guys, covered with neon? You could not miss this driving by. And of course, it went around and around and around. You love the farm style, don't you? I know. Well, how about turning your swimming pool into I know, you guys, where do we begin? First of all, the swimming pool, the most important accessory to any home in the 1950s in Southern California. Absolutely, in the 1950s, Southern California became not only the tract home capital of the world, but the swimming pool capital of the world. And I guess these people, well, you can see they live in a farm-style, barn-style house, and they even have 2 bales of hay to complete the mood, you guys. All they need is a talking horse. Oh, fine, you wanted a more tropical patio. No problem, gracious living, future unlimited. Downey, California. Yes, Downey, California. Home of the industry that built all 6 command modules in the 1960s that took man to and from the moon. Downey was a powerhouse in the realm of outer space age engineering, and not to mention gracious living, as it says right there. Anyway, you guys, I don't know about you, but I love this swimming pool. It is so picture perfect. The umbrella, the tropical plantings, the flagstone. I love flagstone around a swimming pool. That is the ultimate pavement around a swimming pool. The vines climbing on the Ranchy Ranch house. The people sitting there at that glorious wrought iron table. And they have friends over, the umbrellas. There's a butterfly chair back there, and someone striking a pose on the diving board. Yes, indeed. The only thing we're missing here is a slide. And, okay, there's not one here either. But here we are, poolside, and these are classic poolside fashions of the year 1957. Yes, on your right, basic black. I love Budgie, the blow-up swimming pool ornament. Plaything, and then, by the way, right down center front there, the lady in black and white, she's just wearing her pedal pusher, capri, clam digger, toreador hostess pants with a white blouse and tortoiseshell swim trunks there. Behind her, there's 2 people, 2 lovely ladies wearing Coral, very popular, Tiki swim trunks there. I don't know what that guy's holding. It looks like his shirt, or is that his towel in front of his plaid bathing suit? And then, of course, on the right, the lady with the most glamorous pose of all, wearing a sarong sundress, probably made in Hawaii, with a strappy T-strap sandal. Yes, high heel sandal. I love the polka dot cements there, the stepping circles leading to must be a little seating platform there with an umbrella, the tropical plantings everywhere. Well, oh fine, you wanted your swimming pool in the front yard. Beverly Hills, 1954. And yes, this is the all-new for 1953, Coupe de Ville by Cadillac. But you guys, okay, we are in the hills of Beverly where, the rules can totally be broken. And this custom-built home in pink, I love all the landscaping, the ivy geranium, the tropical plantings, the ivy, the pink block wall to match the house with a white roof to reflect the heat in the summer. And voila, in your front yard as the official welcomer is, yeah, I know. How much do you love any house that has a swimming pool in the front yard? It is not totally it happens. It's super, super rare. But when you go to someone's house and they have their swimming pool in the front yard, you know that this is very, very special. I know, and don't you love that umbrella too? I know. Oh, you didn't want a house, you wanted an apartment. Okay, fine, be that way. Here we are in Inglewood, move-in day, 1957, and I have to tell you, apartments galore. Dingbat Apartments in Southern California. Not only was Southern California in the 50s the tract dome capital of the world, it was the swimming pool and the apartment, the Dingbat apartment capital of the world. Now, mind you, these apartment buildings, as you can see here, probably built at the exact same time by the exact same builder, but with two different facades. And there were several facades. You got the Ranchy Ranch over there, you've got the more of the mid-century modern, and I can guarantee you there were several other style guides that they followed in their facade designs. But behind that facade, the apartments were virtually exactly the same inside. Very minimalism. But oh, you want something really fancy, you guys. Okay, we'll just cut right to the chase. The fanciest, the most spectacular 1950s apartment complex in all of Southern California, seen here in probably the late 1950s, is Horace Heights Magnolia Estate Apartments in Sherman Oaks. And it is still there. Horace Height was a band leader who had a troupe of entertainers that traveled around the United States, probably starting in, I'm going to say, the late 20s or 30s. And he built a home in the San Fernando Valley, and that's it, right there in the middle behind the kind of swimming pool there. But in 1955, he started to transform the orange grove around his home into apartment buildings to house his troupe of entertainers. And on one side of the property, all of the different buildings were named after all the different resorts in Palm Springs. And on the other side, each of the buildings was named after a different resort in Hawaii. I mean, I know, can you believe it? But we're not going to get in detail here, but I'm just saying if you're ever in Southern California in Sherman Oaks, you've got to go to Horace Heights Magnolia Estates because it's relatively very untouched from the 1950s. Absolutely the kitschiest apartment complex in all of Southern California. It is the superstar of them all, Horace Heights Magnolia Estates. And I don't think that is Horace Height there shaking the hand of his two twin sons, but standing there on the right, one taller than the other. But I do know this is Horace Heights Lone Palm Motel. Oh, excuse me, hotel. Hotel. Although that looks like Hotep there, doesn't it? Anyway, in Palm Springs, I love Lone Pine written out there in neon. That rich shade of rare green that we don't see enough of, somewhere between a bottle green and a forest green. And of course, the swimsuit fashions, the poolside fashions of 1957. And if you want to see some Palm Springs, we're going to see some right now. There is nothing more important to do in Palm Springs than do a backwards backflip or a back dive into the swimming pool. If you want to talk about swimming pools in Southern California, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Palm Springs is the ultimate destination for swimming pools. There are more swimming pools per capita in Palm Springs now and in the 1950s than any place else in the known universe. Where do we begin to behold the glory? Sorry, I'm just getting so excited because I love Southern California in the 50s so much. So speaking of Palm Springs, I went to the Modernism show there, which I participate in every year. But I was there at the actual show where they have things for sale, and I saw this watercolor, and I'm like, it says Gaze Marroy Manor. So I did a little research on this watercolor, and it actually hung in the lobby of Marcia and Roy Gay was their name. I know. Ha ha ha. Anyway, and they had a place there, and this was the watercolor of the place that hung in the little lobby area, and it was for sale, and I bought it. And I have cherished this on my wall. It's right here beside me. I have cherished this on my wall for probably 15 years. But then one day I was looking through, sorry, I'm getting a little, okay, I'll just tell you the truth, frothy. Okay, hold on, time to take a drink. Anyway, I was looking through some old slides that I collected, and I got to these slides right here, this slide. I'm like, wait a minute, this looks awfully familiar. this looks like that watercolor. And so I started looking at the watercolor on my wall, and I'm like, yeah, the charcoal walls, the coral trim, the light blue door, the shape of the swimming pool. I mean, I'm like, this is it. So strangely, in a odd twist of coincidental fate, I found slides that were taken at Marsha and Roy's Manor in Palm Springs. And I don't know about you, but I love it when the worlds all collide together into a perfect combination of collector bliss. And this is it. By the way, I don't know why the little girl in the middle is doing Cousin Lurch pose. And she's like, I love the bandit goggles she has on. I love the patio furniture here. I love that umbrella. I love the palm tree. Classic with a capital C, ladies and gentlemen. The little waiting area there. And not to mention, how much do we love to see swimming pool water captured so beautifully in the afternoon sunlight of Palm Springs? I know, the tour of Palm Springs continues, yes, with the turquoise and burnt orange divider walls between each of the rooms of this two-story resort. We might as well get it out in the open right now. This is the Desi Arnaz Western Hills Resort in Palm Springs. Indeed, it is built in the year of 1957. It is picture perfect with the matching pink and turquoise umbrellas that match the landscape. They are floral lined. I love the lady on the diving board about to do that backflip, and the lounge ladies there, the landscaping, the little lighting there, that flying saucer light fixture on the left in the middle. Not to mention the ultimate shape of any swimming pool ever, the kidney shape. And this is a giant kidney shaped swimming pool. Isn't it gorgeous? I know. Then after a while, after the afternoon, go inside, take a little disco nap, and then enjoy the trio on stage inside the lounge at Desi Arnaz's Western Hills Resort. Yes, you can see that it is a full house. You can also see they have brought in like lights to light. This is actually a postcard, you guys, but I just had to share it with you because I love that guy's shoes there, right in the middle on the left, the black and white spectators. I know, perfectly acceptable through all the warm months, timeless classic. You could wear them to this day. Yes, indeed. Oh, the bartender's there, by the way. Yeah, the bar. And then there's a waitress up there. I love the levels. There's plantings there, indoor plants. Oh, you wanted a bigger showroom in Palm Springs? No problem. This is the Chi Palm Springs showroom. This is the biggest showroom ever built in Palm Springs. It is no longer there, nor is Desi Arnaz's Western Hills Resort. But anyway, what I was going to say is this looks like a Las Vegas showroom, but it is not. It is indeed in Palm Springs. I'm not sure how long it lasted. It was probably built in about 1953. I'm guessing. And where do we begin to behold the glory of how much we love those chairs, the high-low of the black and that gorgeous, warm, rich, pale peach. And notice in front of the tables right up front there, first of all, and the carpet, that Concord grape-colored carpet. And then you see the back of those big semicircular booths. They're like pale peach and like yellow. Oh, this whole color palette is driving me crazy. I love, love, love it. I love a 50s color palette, don't you? I know. And there's turquoise in there. Not to mention the decor on the wall has me going to outer space and beyond. And then those figurines there on each side of the stage. I'm not sure what they're all about, but I am sure what those light fixtures up above are about, you guys. Outer space age style of the absolute highest order. I know, aren't they gorgeous? I know. Anyway, while you're in Palm Springs in the 1950s, you have got to visit the ultimate date garden ever of all time in the known universe. It is Shield's Date Garden, started in 1924. The Shield's new sales room was built in 1950, and we might as well get it out in the open, ladies and gentlemen. It still, to this very day, looks exactly like that. When you go to Palm Springs, you have to drive 30 miles south, 30 minutes. It's only like 15 miles. south to Shields Date Garden, and that big knight in shining armor is still there pointing the direction to the front door, where inside you are going to find the ultimate local food in Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley, the Date Shake. You are also going to find you're going to find dates to buy, and they're including the blonde and brunette varieties that were developed right there at the Shields Date Garden. Not to mention, you can go into the Date Palm Garden and bask in the glory of the palm trees, the date palm trees. This is out back of the Shields Date Garden in the 1950s. It's no longer quite as rose-filled. The rose area there is now tables and chairs in case you want to eat there, which a lot of people do. But you know what? To me, you guys, this is the ultimate Southern California landscape, really. The roses, the bougainvillea on the patio, and I would love more than anything, my dream is to live on a date grove, in a date grove, surrounded by a grove of dates. And in the middle of it, I hope my house would be like this, covered with bougainvillea, and right out front, kind of like framing the circular, big semicircular driveway where I could pull up on all my old cars, and you could too in yours. A big giant rose garden. I know. Oh, fine. You didn't want dates. You want apples. Well, let's go to the Apple Valley right now. I mean, Apple Valley. No one says the Apple Valley. But here it is. This is the Apple Valley Inn, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, a resort extraordinaire that lasted from 1948 to 1984. And I love the illustration that you see here of it. It's a postcard illustration. And how much do you love all of the things to do there? First of all, the centerpiece and the crowning touch is the parking lot. It is 94 miles from Los Angeles. By the time you get there, your car is going to be a little warm, and you might be too if you don't have air conditioning, because it is hot in Apple Valley, as it is in Palm Springs. We're not talking about weather right now. We are talking about resorting. Yes, for 6 nights and 7 days, it cost $78. Everything was included. There were all kinds of activities there. You can see shuffleboard. There's a swing set. There's a tennis court. And there would be like chuck wagon steak roasts. There would be weenie roasts. There would be chuck wagon or covered wagon tours out in the desert. And all kinds of things to do. And, of course, swimming. Now look at the swimming pool there. As you can see, there is a little umbrella. Well, it's a patio umbrella in blue and white stripes. That would be where these people were striking a pose. There's nothing to it. I happen to know that the lady on the left there lived in Hermosa Beach, on the beach. Perhaps she was of means. She must have been. Anyway, and I don't know who these other people are. I'm guessing her family. Oh, the lady in red next to her looks like her sister, and then the little boy up front is a little worried about everything. I'm not sure why. I'm not, because everyone there is so beautifully dressed. We can take a lesson, including Mr. Plaid on the right, and look at the reflection of that umbrella in that swimming pool. Smooth. The earth was not quaking at all that day. The wind was not blowing. It was absolutely like glass, that water. And then on and beyond that swimming pool, on and beyond under the, and over there by the Joshua tree. Those are Joshua trees, you guys. The vast desert landscaping by Mother Nature. Oh, you wanted a sea to live by. Fine. How about the Salton Sea? Yes, 1958. This is the Salton Sand Sales Office trying to sell you plots of land around, well, Southern California's grandest mistake, the Salton Sea. Well, have you guys heard of the Salton Sea? Anyway, it's out in the desert. It's on and beyond Palm Springs, about, 40 miles or whatever. Anyway, so you go there, and anyway, it's just kind of this weird place where, like, well, it's just bizarre. But anyway, how it happened was, apparently there was, the Colorado River was flowing in like 1906 or something, and some water broke off the side and filled in this whole part of the Coachella Valley. And anyway, in the 50s, they tried to kind of subdivide the property all around it and everything and sell plots and everything. And they built attractions there for people to come and get excited about it. And so they'd want to buy a plot of land. And this is one of the attractions they built, which is one of my favorite buildings ever in the history of Southern California. This is the Salton Sea Yacht Club, built or designed by the famed Palm Springs architect Albert Frey. It was built in 1958, and yeah, you can see it is very unusual. It is minimalism on a modernism, minimalism on a budget. Aluminum paneling, aluminum siding, and fiberglass. The yellow is fiberglass. I love the nautical references there. And of course, the crowning touch, the big flag flying up above, the palm tree landscaping, the cinder block. But of course, the most obvious design feature are those those round window coverings. I know, so bizarre. And the miracle is, about 10 years ago, this building was restored to divine perfection. I have not been there for a few years, but you can go there and see it. Sorry, gotta take a drink of water here. But yeah, the Salton Sea Yacht Club. Oh, you want high altitude? Fine, we'll go to high altitude. About an hour from Palm Springs up the mountain, and about probably 2 hours from Los Angeles, Idlewild. It is an enclave of high altitudeness, and it's fantastic. It's so beautiful up there. You wind up this windy road, and you get up there, and the oldest establishment there is indeed the Idlewild Inn. It's been there since about 1895, I think. This picture was taken in 1959. Rare is the day you are ever going to see a 1959 Oldsmobile. That is the station wagon. That is the car right there by the neon sign. I love that neon sign, don't you? Cocktails, coffee shop, dining room, Idlewild Inn, rooms and cabins. And I am here to say that you can still go there to this day because it still exists, which is a miracle. This is Big Bear. This is a clubhouse there at one of the resorts there, but I just had to share it with you because, first of all, you guys, where do we begin to behold the glory of this glorious color palette? I know, a muted turquoise gray on the beams up above, the walls in an unapologetic peach. The orange and white striped bar sends me into the stratosphere, especially when paired by the glorious turquoise vinyl tops of those aluminum tubular bar stools. The piano over on the side, the antique piano has been two-toned to match. How about the art on the wall, including on the left, that old world print? And of course, a high altitude print there, a waterfall, and behind the bar, a velvet painting of a reclining nude. I know, black velvet painting with a reclining nude. I mean, where do we begin? I know. But anyway, also love the giant beer glasses. Well, the giant one next to the normal one up there. Don't you love beer glasses, you guys? Do you even see them anymore? I have 2 of them and I cherish them, but you never see beer glasses like that, shaped like that. Anyway, and there's a 7-Up bottle right in the middle of the bar there, and I guess the kids are drinking 7-Up. I don't know. But speaking of high altitude, this actually could be, but it isn't. This is the Northwoods Inn, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, a restaurant icon of Southern California, built in Monrovia in the year of 1958. Currently, this exact giant mountain lodge of a restaurant, now, it got moved in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. They were building the freeway where it was, so they took it apart log by log, and they moved the Northwoods Inn from Monrovia to Rosemead, California, which is right by Pasadena, where it still stands to this day. It's almost recognizable, but the main feature of it that it doesn't have, what it has now that it doesn't have in this postcard image, is snow on the roof. So yes, there is snow on the roof now, fake snow on the roof, but otherwise it looks almost exactly like this. The Northwoods Inn, you have to go there. The special, they are serving to this day. The specialty of the house, the cheese bread, you could like jump off a bridge. It is that good. And I mean, I'm just going to say, just go there, Northwoods Inn. Oh, fine. You didn't want to go to the Northwoods Inn. You wanted to go to the Brookdale Lodge downtown. Clifton's Brookdale Cafeteria. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Broadway, downtown Los Angeles, looking north in the year of 1950. In the middle of the street, you have a Los Angeles streetcar, also known as blimps, not to be confused with red cars. They are not red, they are yellow and lime, lemon yellow. Across the street to the left there, or on the left, I should just say, Bullock's department store. Leroy's was a jeweler, Crest 5 and Dime. The Los Angeles Theater, one of the great movie palaces in the known universe, still there. On the right side of the street, up above in the sky, KRKD. That is the radio station at the arcade building. That tower with those letters is still on it. It is still there on the building to this very day, even though that radio station has not broadcast a signal since the year of 1961. Bond Clothiers and Harris and Frank's sportswear shops no longer there. But on the right, you can barely see it, is well, you can see it. It's just not well labeled. Clifton's Cafeteria, the iconic, legendary, downtown, themed environmental extravaganza of a cafeteria that opened in 1935. It was basically in its heyday in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It was there until the 70s. It was there up until about 10 years ago. The original owners finally sold it, and now it's a nightclub. But it still remains, most of its original character still remains, you guys. It is a themed environmental extravaganza of a cafeteria, of a themed environment styled after the Brookdale Lodge in Northern California, because Mr. Clifford Clinton, who was a master showman, who was also a food server, the cafeteria. You don't see the cafeteria here, but there's a guy coming out, the blue pan and the white shirt carrying a tray. He's just come from the cafeteria. Now he's entering the dining room. Anyway, this is a whole story that we could do a whole show about Clifton's Cafeteria. There was more than one, but this was the only one themed like the Brookdale Lodge, because Mr. Clifford Clinton wanted people's souls to be nourished as much as their stomachs. And anyway, the cross up there. Yes, that was a little tiny chapel. For about 2 people could sit in there, and you would go in there and you'd push a little button, and it would there would be a little scene that you'd look in, like a deep forest scene in miniature, and it would start and the recording would say, "In the still of the woods," or whatever. It was pretty amazing. And then also, you guys, this was several floors of dining. You can see somebody on the upper left there dining as well. Everyone was welcome at Clifton's, and there was another Clifton's, not just the Brookdale Lodge. This is the lesser known Clifton's Pacific Seas, also in downtown Los Angeles, a block away from the other one. This was on Olive Street. It was built in 1935 in a South Seas themed Pacific Seas. And it was bulldozed in the year of 1960, tragically. But anyway, as you can see, it was by any standards of those days completely outrageous, completely unique, and nowhere could you go in the United States and find on a main street, a main thoroughfare of a downtown center of a city, anything as over-the-top themed. I mean, this was Disneyland before Disneyland. Clifford Clinton was totally into themes, and you can see, well, okay, so here it is by day, and by the way, I know, don't you love Union Pacific ticket office there? And I guess is that a shoe store next door? It's a little blurry. Granted, it's a little blurry. I mean, this is a rare shot, you guys. The fountain next door, the Olive Cafe, I love that. And then the tour bus there. Okay, this is the day shot of it. Now we're going to move into a direct in front shot. Pay what you wish. If you could not afford to eat there, no problem. You could pay what you could. Clifford Clinton was a very democratic man. Everyone was welcome at Clifton's. This was long before everybody was welcome everywhere. So Clifton's, the history of Clifford Clinton's cafeterias is very special and unique in the scheme of Southern California. And again, he was quite a showman. That's neon on the front. That's actually a waterfall lit at night. Visitors welcome. And right down on the lower left there, it says Santa Anita Racetrack. I mean, there was a bus that would take you to Santa Anita. There was also like a matchmaker inside. You guys, speaking of inside, here is inside the Pacific Seas. And I know, where do we begin? So there's neon flowers, neon palm trees. There's a grass shack over there, the murals on the walls. And I guess that according to the legend, every half hour, there was like a fake rain. I'm not sure exactly where it rained. There would have been live entertainment. And here's a close-up of some people at their table with a little bit more of that gorgeous mural and the grass shack. I know, it's all just too much. I love the little girl in the little white pen, the little teenage girl there, little Missy, in her little jumper in a blue taffeta. It looks quilted too. Well, anyway, but we're not talking about quilted taffeta. It's taffeta. It has 3 syllables. You know about taffeta? Well, anyway, never mind taffeta. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the crepe paper on top of the table. Like, get out your Scotch tape and go to the party store and get some crepe paper. And the next time you have a party, I mean, a couple twists of crepe paper on the table is genius brilliantness. And of course, as is the fact that Clifton's Cafeteria would give your party a free birthday cake if you had a birthday in your party. Clifton's Cafeteria. Okay, we were just talking. I know, Clifton's. Yeah. Anyway, Pacific Seas, Brookdale, we just visited 2 of the locations, not to be confused with the other. The Brookdale is still standing. And you can still go there. Look it up on their website. Anyway, it's a long story. But we talked about Santa Anita Racetrack. This is Santa Anita. Santa Anita Racetrack in Arcadia, California, built in the year of 1934. I don't know about you, but I love the style of it. It's classic 1930s. Here you see it in about 1950. These 3 ladies are dressed in their afternoon best, including, okay, we'll just cut to the chase. I know, the gray and the red in the middle, stunning. The camel coat on the left, lovely. They all have their hats on. But the lady on the right, you guys, has a Stone Martin. And, you know, I mean, if you're looking at vintage Kodachrome slides or vintage photos of people going out in the 1950s, you're bound to see a Stone Martin, and that is a fox. They are real foxes. It's fur, and they're whole-bodied foxes that have been deboned and de-gutted, and all that you have left are the legs, the tail, the head, and the arms and legs. And oh my God, it's so bizarre. Anyway, so that lady, yeah, that's the fox head right there. See it? And there's usually like maybe 2 of them together. It's just too bizarre. But anyway, never mind that. The style of, I love that striped awning back there. I love all the pansies. Don't you love the solid yellow border around the multi? I know, but I love that green, and I love that pale yellow trim, the striped awning and everything. Anyway, we could go on and on and on. You want to talk about color? Let's talk about color here. Why is there not enough color in this world today? We need more color. Let's not have a fear of color. We are done painting everything gray. Okay? I've said it before, and yes, I will say it again. This is the Beverly Hilton Hotel, built in the year of 1956 in the heart of Beverly Hills. Ladies and gentlemen, still standing to this very day. However, the room dividers are no longer painted those glorious Easter egg colors. No, they are not. Anyway, up there in the middle, you can see there's a round room. That was the L'Escoffier restaurant. Must have been the bar for the restaurant. And oh yeah, up there on the top there, you can see the little windows on the right is the restaurant. But anyway, I just love this very extreme, picture-perfect example of mid-century modernity. And of course, Robinson's department store we do not see. Instead, we're going to look on the right side because Robinson's is out of frame on the left. But on the right side, also out of frame, is this. Yes, an illustration of the Traders. This was the exterior restaurant at the Beverly Hilton Hotel property. Later on, it became Trader Vic's. I went there once in about probably 1999. Unfortunately, it closed. It's long gone now, but I love this illustration from 1955. I can tell that's a Cadillac Coupe de Ville pulled up there. Don't you love the "You Have Arrived" A-frame entrance, the tropical plantings, the shields, that head carving right down on the lower right, of course, the palm tree trunk going up like that. But most prominent is that giant tiki god there. So according to the legend, they the builders of the Traders, before it became Trader Vic's, hired a Beverly Hills telephone man who had something to do with telephone poles, and apparently they had leftover telephone poles, and they said, we need tiki gods, carve 8 telephone poles into tiki gods, and they did, and it looks like one of them's right there. Anyway, I know, it's just a bizarre thing that deserves a little more research, but 8 telephone poles carved into tiki gods by the guy who worked for a phone company in Beverly Hills at that time. Okay, fine. You want to go to, speaking of lore and legend and landmark, this is the Bali High restaurant in San Diego on Shelter Isle, seen here in the late 1950s. And I will tell you, I'm happy to say, it is still there to this day. I ate there just recently, and it looks almost just like this, a little modded up. But anyway, on the roof is still the goof up there. You can still see this legendary landmark. And I think at night, usually we go there during the day, but it's so beautiful there. One of his eyes lights up red. It's kind of spooky and kind of a tradition. And where it says Bali High right there, all those people are gathered around that vine pole, that vine post. Well, this is the one current image in this entire show. Most everything is absolutely from the 50s that you're seeing, but this is Mr. Bali High. He is a carving that has been there since 1955. He is still there to this very day, and this is before there were like selfie spots. This was a selfie spot, and you can still have your picture taken with Mr. Bali High. I will also tell you that he is they make Tiki mugs to this day. They're about, 10 inches tall, 8 inches tall, Mr. Bali High Tiki mugs. And if you ask me, among the absolute classic of all Tiki mugs ever of all time is the Mr. Bali High Tiki mug. So yes, Bali High Restaurant, San Diego, 1955, still serving to this very day. Okay, speaking of exotica, you guys, how about the Saharan Desert as a background, as a mural backdrop for the office of this Mr. Roy Weatherly, who was a pioneer in the realm of, I'm not into guns, it's not my thing, I don't shoot animals, but I just love the decor, I have to say. The decor of his office. First of all, I know, and there's a tiger rug. I mean, I'm conflicted by this, but you will have to agree that it makes a great picture. Anyway, yeah, that mural painted in his office, the planter going all the way across it, the flagstone there, and it's recessed a little bit. It's just so effective. I love the furniture, the tiger curtains, that naughty panel. Well, it's not that naughty, I guess, but that honey colored wood paneling there. And of course, one of his products there, that shotgun, but the red furniture and that ashtray by that red chair there, I know. I don't know, I just had to share this with you. And this, by the way, you guys, I know, as I said, I'm not into shotguns and all that stuff, but this is the Weatherly Sporting Goods, Weatherby's Sporting Goods. This is a rare, probably the only color shot that exists of it. And I'm not so much showing it to you for the fact that they're selling guns, and there's a big giant rifle up there on the top that is outlined at night in neon, as is all the signage and everything. But I am showing it to you for signage and for the extreme divine perfection of minimalism when it comes to the merchandising of goods in the 1950s. This is absolutely picture perfect in the scheme of retail in the street side retail in the 1950s. A wall of glass, a planter out front, low plantings. Inside at night, you could see everything in the store, that rich, gorgeous color, that burnt orange with that kind of crocus yellow trim. This is picture perfect in every way. You want shotguns, you're not going to find them here, but you will find a little bang bang, because they're going to have a little shoot 'em up show here at Knott's Berry Farm, right in the middle of Calico Square. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is no talking about Southern California in the 50s without talking about Ghost Town in Buena Park, California. Behold the glory of one of Southern California's oldest and ultimate tourist attractions, themed environmental extravaganzas of the absolute highest order. You can see the Calico Saloon here, the water tower, and of course, the ultimate crowning touch of all of Ghost Town, the train that goes round and round, that has been there and is still there to this day since 1952. Yes, the ghost town is populated with, not only plenty of people, but costumed employees, showgirls, cowboys, saloon girls, prospectors walking around with their burros, and Native Americans, all waiting for you to have your picture taken with them. And basically, Ghost Town still looks almost exactly like this. Panning for gold. You can still pan for gold. That is one of the things to do at Knott's Berry Farm. It used to cost like 25 cents. Now it's $10. Probably more now. But anyway, I did it just a few months ago, and I actually got, like 5 cents worth of gold, I'm sure. But anyway, I loved it. It's like this thing that you just do. If you grew up in Southern California, you panned for gold at Knott's Berry Farm, where Mr. Walter Knott is continuing the tradition, or just kind of educating people, taking them back in time and paying tribute to the prospectors and pioneers that, made their way across the vast Western landscape and created, well, the beginnings of what we know today. We might as well get it out in the open. And if you want to, you can take a picture with Handsome Brady and Whiskey Bill. They've been there since the late 1940s, and they are still there to this very day. And yes, if you've seen any of my slideshows, you might recognize the little young lady there, dressed very smartly in stripes and solid. That would be a very pale, or well, not so pale, I guess, orange sherbet short with a thong. Well, thongs, not a thong. I'm not talking about her underwear. I'm talking about her shoes. We used to call those shoes thongs. Does anybody call them thongs anymore? Yeah, I guess a thong. Well, never mind. Why are we talking about thongs? Because of her shoes. Well, they're thongs, not shoes. But anyway, we're not talking about underwear. We're talking about Knott's Berry Farm. Oh, and then there's also the most photographed women who look like men dressed up as women, but never mind that. They were hand-carved right there on site, Cecilia in Maryland, 1952, and 61 years later, they also are still there. There's so much tradition and lore and legend at Knott's Berry Farm, you guys. I love it, of course. The ultimate lore and legend of Knott's Berry Farm is the fact that it actually was a farm. And anyway, you can see here in this picture from the 1950s, I love these people. The little girl on the left, well, young lady, with her camera there, her little brownie camera. And then we got the next lady. I don't know, is she part of the military or is she just kind of rocking her inner butchness? I'm not sure, but anyway, she looks great. She has a brochure from Knott's Berry Farm. Is that her purse? Yeah, okay. Then the other lady, has a basket purse with a fruit on it and a sailor collar. How much do you love anybody who shows up at Knott's Berry Farm with a basket purse with fake fruit on it and a sailor collar? I know. And then we have Mommy-O and Daddy-O. Everyone's having a good old time. But behind them, the original roadside stand, 1920. Here it is now. And this is the reason why we're all here at Knott's Berry Farm. Mr. and Mrs. Walter Knott, ladies and gentlemen, seen here in the year of 1959, celebrating, or maybe it's 1960, their anniversary at Knott's Berry Farm. And they are our heroes. They will always be heroes, for they created the ultimate roadside attraction that blossomed, well, the farm that blossomed into a theme park. But they also, before they did any of that, it was all about growing berries. Hello, Knott's Berry Farm. So that is where the boysenberry was virtually invented, and the boysenberry was special and it became a destination farm, a roadside attraction where the berries were like this giant big. And it is still going to this day. However, boysenberries are hard to find now, and there are none there. But we're not talking about boysenberry. We're talking about boysenberry pie, which was what you get after after dinner, when you eat dinner at the ultimate place in all of Southern California, the ultimate Southern California dinner, the most served ever of any dinner restaurant ever of all time. Yeah, the waitresses and Walter Knott there at Knott's Berry Farm Fried Chicken Dinner Restaurant. So, long story short, the reason why the ghost town even exists in the first place is because Walter and Cordelia Knott were selling, they had their berry stand and everything, and then pretty soon they started selling tea and crumpets, tea and biscuits with boysenberry jam. Then one Sunday afternoon, Mrs. Knott said, why don't I just serve some fried chicken dinner? And so she did, and the next thing you know, there's more fried chicken dinner. The dining room expanded, the dining room was built, and word got out the fried chicken was really good, the fried chicken dinner. And so people started waiting in line for fried chicken dinner, and year after year, from 1934 to about 1940, the line just was lined up halfway around the farm, practically on Sundays. So Walter Knott said, we have to do something to entertain people while they're waiting in line for fried chicken dinner. So slowly but surely, the ghost town started small, one little kind of oddball attraction, then another one did another one. Pretty soon, boom, poof, boom, poof, yeah, boom, poof. Pretty soon, yeah, boom, poof. You've got a ghost town. You've got the ultimate roadside attraction with little shops, and it's a complete and total environmental extravaganza, including entertainment. Here we have in the wagon camp, you guys, look at the people, the audience. It's outdoor theater in the round, and around the whole thing, circling the whole thing, or most of it, kind of in a U shape, are these wagons that you can sit in and watch the show. The Cactus Kids playing a little, like, you know, bluegrass music or whatever. And I love their outfits, don't you? I know. And as if that's not enough, how about a little square dancing over there on the right? Do-si-do your partner. I remember square dancing. I only did it once in 4th grade for 2 weeks during PE. And I recall, you know, pretending I didn't enjoy it. I loved it. I could square dance right now. I could probably pick it up. I'm not a good dancer, but I can square dance. Right across the street from Knott's Berry Farm is the Alligator Farm, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is, it says right there, one of the world's largest alligator farms. I think the bigger alligator farms are in Florida. We don't have alligators in California at all, except for at the alligator farm. I just love the kind of utilitarian building there to welcome you. So roadside, so homespun, so honest, so unpretentious. And that gorgeous 1950 Mercury there. And there is the attraction right here. I guess this is not politically correct by today's standards of having you know, an alligator slide down a slide there into a little pool of water, but I guess anything for dinner, right? And all the kids lined up enjoying it. They claimed these were, actually what it was is this was a place that supplied alligators when they need them for movies. And while the alligators weren't working in the movies, they're like, well, let's charge admission and have people look at them. And indeed they did. This is not the alligator farm. This is Southern California's oldest tourist attraction, the La Brea Tar Pits on Wilshire Boulevard in the heart. You know, I almost said in the Los Angeles, like, yeah, in the Los Angeles. Anyway, 1950s, you would find these giant prehistoric creatures there, carved and standing there. Again, a perfect selfie spot. Take your picture, strike a pose. There's nothing to it. Anyway, but what's weird about the La Brea Tar Pits, you guys, is like still to this day you can go there and there's like, you know, a park area there where you can have a picnic or whatever. And there's like, you know, little bubbling little things of oil just all bubbling up, like that. I know. And they like kind of put a little fence around it for a while until it stops bubbling or whatever. It's so bizarre, but I love the La Brea Tar Pits. And anyway, we could go on and on about the La Brea Tar Pits, but just next time you're in LA, you've got to check out the La Brea Tar Pits. Will you excuse me for a minute? I have to have a drink. Okay, thank you. And this is water, by the way. Oh dear. Okay. The tour of Wilshire Boulevard continues, you guys. I think we're going out of control, but I love this building next to the Wiltern Theater. That is it on the right there. That's how I figured out where this was. This is the, the name, I can't read it. Earl Berry Lincoln Mercury, you guys. 1951. Can you believe this mid-century modern structure? Basically, it is a roof held up by 2 McDonald's golden arches. I know. This is before McDonald's, by the way. So it was kind of in the vocabulary of architecture at the time, the arches. But in this case, they're actually, you can see those cables. They're holding up the building. There are very few posts inside this building. You can see right through its glass most all the way around. It's the showroom for the new Mercurys and the Lincolns of 1951. Anyway, I just had to show it to you. And the crowning touch of this picture is there's a ladder there. Excuse me, sorry. There's a ladder there on the roof and they're climbing up to the M. Do you see it? I know. Love it. Love it. And the tour of Wilshire continues. You guys, I kind of went crazy. I mean, I wanted to include this. I just love the ambiance of the signs, of the color of the sidewalk, that glass that you're seeing reflecting a bus stop sign on the right, or actually you're seeing right through the corner glass there to the taxi cab. There's the liquor store there. There's a steak restaurant. It says seafood, steak, and spaghetti. Burnside in Wilshire. Yeah, that's where this is. And of course, that grid, that decorative grid for your pleasure in like a red, orange, and a teal. Oh, I mean, it really attracts your eye. And it's not exactly the same all the way up, I know. And then the Cafeteria. You guys, I wish we could see the whole thing, but don't you love how the Chevy there, the 53 Chevy, matches the Cafeteria lettering? I know. Anyway, Entre Cafeteria here is for gracious dining. It's Entre. I believe there were 4 locations. They're long gone, long gone. But this is lunch in probably about 1955 at the Entre Cafeteria. Bread, kind of a odd little display of bread there with butter and 1 long roll and 2 little round ones. And then, I know, it's so bizarre. And then, and a pat of butter. And I love whatever this entree is. It looks like, you see online or whether the world's ugliest fish or undersea creature. It looks like that and a piece of like fowl had a baby. Green beans, I'm not sure what that is. It's a clump of something. And then, of course, the green salad with tomato, pickled beet, and a slice of bell pepper. Lovely. Mashed potatoes. It's got to be mashed potatoes. I love the 3-layer cake there. And, of course, a pot of hot water that's really having quite a time with a very beautiful pink coffee cup with a matching saucer. Isn't that gorgeous? I know, and that blue tray, it's like color theory all the way. Oh, I love it all. Oh, you want something a little fancier, a little more legendary, a little more iconic? Fine, be that way. This is the Brown Derby. Yes, this is the most famous restaurant in all of Hollywood history. Built in the year of 1926 on Wilshire Boulevard, across from the Ambassador Hotel. That Brown Derby sign standing high atop there still exists, as does this actual Brown Derby structure itself. It is the most famous thing in all of Southern California that still exists that nobody knows about. So basically what happened from 1926 to the 70s, this restaurant flourished. It started, of course, to wane in the 70s or whatever, its popularity, people move on. But anyway, it was still an icon. Anyway, they were going to redevelop the property here on Wilshire Boulevard, and they were going to bulldoze the Brown Derby, and preservationists said, no, you cannot. So they compromised with the developer, and he actually put it on the roof of a 2-story 70s mini mall. And where it is still to this day, it's in the middle of Koreatown. And I'm not sure if you can go inside of it now, if it's open for business or what. But this actual Brown Derby dome and that brim that you see there still exist. And it's so bizarre because nobody in the preservation community in Southern California ever talks about it, it's never mentioned. But let's take this thing and put it somewhere where everyone can see and enjoy it. It is an icon of Hollywood. Where do we begin to behold the glory? Oh, the Brown Derby. Inside the Brown Derby, not necessarily that location. There were a couple of locations, I think 4, actually. But that one that you just saw was the only one shaped like the Brown Derby itself. A Brown Derby. But anyway, inside the Brown Derby restaurants, they were famous for their portraits of famous people on the wall. They were beautifully, funly drawn. And of course, this one's kind of funny because that is one of the legendary men of vaudeville who went on to be a variety show star on television, Jimmy Durante. And that's him, of course, on the wall. And the big thing, he had a big schnoz. That was his, claim to fame, and everyone made fun of his big nose. And anyway, that it had to go onto another portrait on the wall. I know. Okay, fine. You didn't want to go out to eat. You wanted to pick something up at the store. Ralph's is Southern California's iconic grocery store. This is Wilshire Boulevard, maybe Wilshire and San Vicente, it looks like to me. But as you can see, this is a late 1930s Ralph, seen in about 1950. According to a 1950 or 49 Ford there on the very far right. But you can see this is a deco-modern structure of glory and beauty. And of course, the beacon, the sign tower, Ralph's up there, glowing red neon at night. You can see the glass blocks coming down the side of the tower. They lit up at night as well. And yes, indeed, a picture-perfect example of a supermarket. The tour of this is, Miracle Mile, you guys. I love that lady standing there in awe of this entire block full of, by the way, over there on the far right, that is La Brea Tar Pits. So they're still there. I wish I should have put this slide next to the Libria tar pits. But anyway, whatever, we're fine. I love this whole block full of late 1940s, mid-century modernism. Very post and beam, very boxy mod international style, very form follows function. The Prudential building is still there. The windmill is gone. That's Vandy Camps. Vandy Camps was a legendary bakery in Southern California that had bakery stands and stores, in grocery stores and their own stands on corners in many different communities. Later on, they kind of expanded into the coffee shop business, and this was their most modern one of all. And that windmill spun right there. I wish there were more images of it. This is in the middle there with the brick on, the brick stripes in front. That is Welton Beckett's office, a legendary architect in Southern California. And of course, the corner building there, I wish I could read what it said. A luggage. It's a luggage store. I know. And the cars driving by, that 55 Chevy in yellow and white. I know. Where do we begin? This is Miracle Mile. There's the sign. Miracle Mile, of course, was a famous shopping district. It's still called Miracle Mile, and there are still traces of some of these buildings left. The May Company building there is very much left. It is now the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum. So it virtually looks just like this on the outside. Of course, the iconic, you have arrivedness of the May Company. By the way, this building was built in 1939. May Company was a department store. They closed in probably 1985. But anyway, the building stood empty for decades and just recently did reopen it was reinvented as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum, as I just said. But anyway, I love the American flag. I love seeing American flags fly. We need more of them. But anyway, what I was going to say is that corner, the round thing, is all gold metallic glass tiles. And it's absolutely glorious. This picture does not do it justice. And by the way, that Simon's down there is a car hop, which is out of frame, but you can see the sign there. Simon Sandwiches. This picture is also about 1950, 1949. But what happened? My clicker didn't work for a second. There it is. You want to go to the new May Company? Fine. Lakewood Center, 1952. First of all, where do we begin to behold the glory of how much we love this sign? Lakewood is Southern California's most precious and most planned suburban community. So Lakewood, California is basically a child of Long Beach. And I cannot recommend this book about Lakewood enough. It's called Holy Land. It was written about 25 years ago, and it's one of my favorite reads ever. If you want to read a book about Southern California in the 1950s, it's just a collection of little short paragraphs and little stories about growing up in Lakewood by D.J. Waldy. That's the author, and he's a brilliant writer. Holy Land about Lakewood. Okay, we're not talking about Holy Land anymore. We're talking about the May Company. So the May Company, in the development of the city of Lakewood, the May Company was the centerpiece. It was literally the castle of town. This is the castle of capitalism. This is where you went and bought everything that you needed to make your home and to furnish your life. The May Company. Those big yellow neon M's, those were the highest points in the entire town. Yes, I love the modernness of this building, the plantings coming out front. Later on, of course, they added a little mall action to it, a little side mall activity where you see See's Candy there. How much do we love See's Candy, you guys? I love the horn rim glasses there in red neon. Barry's Jewelers, Bond Clothiers, Leeds Shoe Store, Hartfield's Dress Shop. Don't know what the next one is, but way down there is F.W. Woolworth's, 5 and dime. Yes, Lakewood Center. Oh, fine. Lakewood Center of 1952, a little too old for you, no problem. Let's go to the new Lakewood Center. The new May Company in Covina. Yes, 5 miles to Eastland Shopping Center, which is where you will find the new and improved May Company and the Five Lanterns Chinese restaurant where they serve cocktails and food to take out. Not to mention Juliet's Candies, the billboard. I love billboards, don't you? I know, billboard art. Anyway, this is Eastland Shopping Center. It was built in the year of 1957. It was the first freeway side shopping center in all of Southern California. And I will also tell you that when I was a child, we used to go there. When I was a little kid, it looked exactly like this. And we would go there, and I would be so well behaved because it was like, in my little child brain, I was realizing this is the third best place that we ever go. The first best place was Disneyland, the second best place was Knott's Berry Farm, and the third best place was Eastland Shopping Center. The whole place looked like Tomorrowland. I mean, I'm just getting a little... by the way, the iconic sign there, the towering sign with little stained glass panels in it, here it is. It's a little... This is a postcard, but you can see that it was very mid-century modern. And then the glass panels there in that little grid, that decorative grid that you walked under that kind of gave you a sense of place. Quite spectacular, quite memorable, quite lovely, and very, very mid-century modern. The whole thing was basically is bulldozed, and now where the May Company, the big department store, is like a Target. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. The parking lot, I'll never forget. There's Mount Baldy in the background, by the way. The parking lot had these, West 23, like they had these like numbers, like you weren't going to be able to remember where you parked because there were 12,000 parking spaces. The entire mall was surrounded by a sea of asphalt thoughtfully divided into parking spaces. And here you have a family here. This is the family that owns the Five Lanterns Chinese restaurant, which, by the way, I love the car show out in front there. A 55 Buick, a 55 Chevrolet, and the all-new for 1959. I love the taillights and the fins of the 59 Chevy, almost as much as I love the front of the Five Lanterns restaurant. And you see the Five Lanterns there. I love the brushstroke font of the Five Lanterns. And there's the restaurant doors on one side, the cocktail lounge on the other side. And speaking of the other side, you guys, I love that the Chinese restaurant is right next door to the paint shop. Who zoned Eastland Shopping Center? I know. And this is the family on opening weekend at Five Lanterns. And I know that because this slide was given to me by what might be that little boy right there. He came up to me at a book signing at the Santa Monica Pacific Auditorium that I did years ago. And he said, I have slides for you of my family's Chinese restaurant, and I want to say thank you because I cherish these slides, and everything looks delicious, including everyone's got like a pink, it's an egg, a pink egg on their plate. I don't know what that means. I've never seen that before. I've eaten at a million Chinese restaurants. I've never seen a pink egg in a Chinese restaurant. I better ask someone because that's important. We need to know. Don't you love those chafing dishes? I always don't like to say because it reminds me of like if you're chafing or whatever. I don't know. There's a couple words in the English language that I don't like saying because I don't want to say it the wrong way because doesn't like chafing. Wait, is it chafing or like when your underwear rubs you the wrong way or whatever? Anyway, we don't want to talk about that. Those heated from below food troughs in stainless steel. I love them. Don't you? I know, I want all that Chinese food right now. But you guys, we have to talk about Pee Wee Herman there. I know, the gray suit, the white shirt, the red bow tie, classic beyond all time and ages beyond. I know, where do we begin? Speaking of Chinese restaurants, let's go to Chinatown, you guys. I love old Chinatown in downtown Los Angeles. It's been there since the late 1930s. It's still there, and it is amazing. This is an in-camera multi-shot of Chinatown. Chinatowniana, Gifts, China Mart, the Jade Tree Importers, Golden Dragon, Gifts, Pottery Novelties, and Chinese Sea Islanders. The only one of these signs that is still there is the Jade Tree Importers. That sign still exists. And here is the archway, the entrance into old Chinatown. That gateway entrance is still there to this day. And there's no such thing as coming to Southern California and having me as your tour guide without going to old Chinatown. It's not quite the hustling, bustling place that it used to be, but I love to look through the layers of time. And this is a really fun place to look through the layers of time. Here's a family visiting in the year of 1956. Oh, it looks like the kid in the striped shirt. He's not with them. But anyway, Mr. Plaid, that beautiful pair of lightweight wool pleated trousers, the spectator shoe he's wearing, and then his lovely wife, an open-toed pump with a nice, sensible, very high-quality looking handbag, a white cardigan sweater over a beautiful full dirndl skirt, timeless classic. And then you have pledging allegiance to the time, pledging allegiance to who knows what. I don't even know what I'm talking about. His shirt, and the lovely lady on with him. She is very well accessorized with her basket purse, white pump, white glove, and white jewels to match over her. Oh, it looks like she has a coat over her arm to match her dress. Very civilized. Yeah, and the buildings behind those buildings are all still there and look exactly like that. This building is still here and looks exactly like this. It was built in the late 1930s. However, that big sign that says rice bowl Chinese food is no longer there. But I love it. Lim's Cafe, Cantonese food, famous Chinese foods. I mean, and virtually this building is painted exactly the same way. Chinatown, old Chinatown, downtown Los Angeles, is absolutely one of my favorite places to explore, to look through, as I said, the layers of time. The Golden Pagoda restaurant, unfortunately, is no longer serving, but it is one of my favorite structures in all the land. It was built in 1941, and yes, did I just say it's still standing? I get a little verklempt because I actually hosted the second to the last night there. Last Supper at Golden Pagoda. Actually, by then it was called Hop Louie. And I don't know what's to become of this building, but it's a beautiful interior inside. And this is just, the kind of the entrance is the Golden Pagoda. But you go upstairs, there's a bar, and I'll never forget in the final days, like 10 years ago, I used to go there quite a bit, and I brought tour groups there and everything. And finally one night I asked the owner, why don't you turn on the neon lights anymore outside? And he said, because it causes interference on the television in the bar. I was like, okay. By the way, speaking of iconic Los Angeles attractions, ladies and gentlemen, where do we begin to behold the glory of how much we love Olvera Street? So Olvera Street, by any other standards of any other town, would be called Old Town Los Angeles, but Old Town Los Angeles is called Olvera Street. It is steeped in history. Olvera Street is like, quote unquote, the oldest street in LA. In 1930, the oldest street in Los Angeles was closed to pedestrian traffic and turned into a pedestrian mall, a Mexican-themed marketplace where strolling mariachis and merchandise and food. It was like really the first themed environmental extravaganza, kind of total immersion environment for tourists and locals. And the cross is the beginning of the street. That cross is still there. You could stand there just like that lady in her white gloves and her white pumps with that very, very stylish little lunchbox handbag she has. And you could do that same pose right now. So here it is in the shadow of the City Hall building there that you can see right in the middle. I'm here to tell you that Olvera Street looks pretty much exactly like this to this very day. When you go to Olvera Street, you buy tchotchkes. You can buy some Huarache shoes. You can eat. There's all kinds of little food stands. And of course, everything is delicious. There's so many shops to wander in. The oldest house in Los Angeles is there. The old candle store is there. There's just there's an old mural there that you have to see. There's so much lore, so much legend, so much landmark. And of course, the music is playing and the plantings are beautiful. It's one of those deep soul places that when you're there, you can just feel the spirit of time. You can feel the spirit of the lore and the landmark of it all. I go there as often as possible. And speaking of Chinatown, kind of an odd transition here, but we were just in Chinatown, which is basically a block from Olvera Street. But while we're talking about Chinatown, I always thought it would be fun if the Grauman's Chinese Theater was in Chinatown, but it's not. The Chinese Theater is in Hollywood, and now we're in Hollywood. Yes, Hollywood, the legendary, the most famous movie theater on the planet. Built in 1927. Here you see it in the year of 1958, where that big giant thing that goes across the billboard says, the see-through billboard, Boy on a Dolphin, not a classic film, starring one of maybe Sophia Loren's first American films, I'm not sure. I love the black and white billboard, I love the 53 Chevrolet, the 56 Oldsmobile, and the 56 Mercury there, not to mention the 52 Pontiac parked way down there in front. Looks like, CinemaScope, must be 19, well, I don't know what, it's gotta be 56, I'm thinking, 57. Anyway, we could go on and on about the Chinese theater. The there, besides the interior of the theater, of course, is the legendary, the most famous forecourt. Also, the most famous theater has the most famous forecourt, and that is where you'll find all the handprints and the footprints from all the premieres that have taken place over the years there of all the legendary movie stars in Hollywood. It is still, to this day, one of the ultimate tourist attractions in all of Los Angeles. The legendary Grauman's Chinese Theater, right down the street, just a few blocks. This is Sunset and Vine, another one of the ultimate, most famous legendary crossroads in all of Los Angeles. Yes, the famous Sunset Boulevard. This is it. You're looking north on Vine Avenue. Back when this picture was taken in the early 1950s, this was where all of the studios were. In the radio studios, television had not quite taken hold yet in California. Television was happening in New York, a little bit in California, but we're not talking about New York right now. We're talking about NBC Radio City right there on the right, built in the late 1930s. And then, of course, right up the street in the middle, that white building, kind of roundy there that you see, that is ABC, the beginning of the American Broadcasting System. And right around the corner on the left, which is out of frame, I'm sorry to say, is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. So this was the center of all the early networks right here at Sunset and Vine. Some of these buildings still do exist. The ABC building is still there. The Plaza Hotel building is still there. I wish that Miller billboard was still there, but Hollywood Boulevard is a block up. And here is Hollywood and Vine, the other most famous intersection in all of Hollywood land. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and virtually looks pretty much just like this without the signage to this day. I love the Taft building there on the right, American Airlines building there. Fly American. Yes, and the Broadway department store there on the left. And of course, in the distance there, the other most famous building besides the Chinese Theater in Hollywood is one of the first round, if not the first round office building ever in the history of office buildings. This is a mid-century modern masterpiece of the absolute highest order. Still looks virtually exactly the same to this very day. This is Capitol Records Building. Yes, built in. Did I just say 1956? Anyway, this is Capitol was the label of Frank Sinatra and several other of the most famous recording stars ever in the history of recording. The big point on the top is to resemble a needle that goes on your record player for some reason. It's supposed to be a stack of records, but more than a stack of records, it is a round, towering building that by any standards of any day is considered one of the great mid-century modern masterpieces ever built in the known universe, and a timeless classic, and of course, one of the great icons of Hollywood. Speaking of icons of Hollywood, Farmers Market, 3rd and Fairfax. This is a treasure that is still there to this day. One of the most precious places in all of Hollywood land since 1934. Basically, it's kind of cattywampus. As you can see, it kind of looks still like this to this day, kinda. It's right next door they built a big giant shopping center next door, the Grove. Why am I blanking on the name? The Grove. Anyway, go to the Grove or whatever. If you go to the Grove, you have to go to Farmers Market. And it is just like a time capsule. If you blur your eyes, it still looks almost exactly like this. And there's food stalls, food stands, there's little gift shops, souvenir shops, there's candy stores, there's meat market, fruit stands. I mean, it is too much. But whatever you do, you go there and you shop and you have food. You have a little bite over here. You go over here and buy something else. You buy candy to go. You buy gifts. You buy whatever. It's just, and virtually it resembles this to this day. It is a timeless classic place. And And this is like, when I found this slide, my brain almost exploded. The fruit fair. I don't know about you, but I want to go to the fruit fair. They still have fruit stands and produce stands there. They're not quite as perfectly presented as this now, but anyway, still nevertheless, the tradition continues. And I don't know about you, but I love stripes. Red and white stripes, absolutely my favorite. Forever and always, no matter what time of year it is, and you can see the power of red and white stripes, not to mention the words fruit and fair together. Where do we begin? I know, and that this like giant display there is just frying my brain out. I think that, you know what that is at the top of it? That is like cellophane. An explosion of cellophane is the crowning touch on top of those grapes and pineapples. It looks like papayas. I don't know, what are those big giant round fruits? No apple is that big. It looks like pears. Then you got your bananas. Where do we begin, you guys? I know, it's almost too much. So as I said, there's also gifty things to buy here. There's a store, it's no longer there, unfortunately, the Coral Reef, although they need to bring it back. The Coral Reef there, where mother and her daughter's grown up enough to have a little purse and a little black corduroy probably, or velveteen pinafore, or a jumper. Wait, is that a pinafore or a jumper? Anyway, so many fashion terms. The little boy there in his red shirt matching his sister's purse. It's all just too much. All those baskets and everything. I know, there was this brochure. I still have this brochure of Little Tokyo. I know, what am I saying, Little Tokyo? I'm sorry we didn't include Little Tokyo in this, but I love Little Tokyo. No, this, I don't know why I was thinking of Little Tokyo. I was just there the other day. Little Tokyo is another incredible place in LA. You have to go. It's fantastic. Anyway, there's so much to do in Southern California land in the 50s and now. But anyway, there is a brochure of Farmers Market from the 1950s, and it pictures this place right here, the Coral Reef. And underneath it, it just says, "Hey Myrtle, have a hula skirt." I don't know why, but it just kills me that they would caption a photo of this place in the brochure with, "Hey Myrtle, have a hula skirt." Also there at Farmers Market is where you would see that on the property at Farmers Market ultimately would be built the model of CBS Television City in Hollywood, a very mid-century modern structure that stands to this day, built in the year of 1952. This was the first studio ever built specifically with only television production in mind. Yes, and of course, among the iconic shows that were shot here were the Carol Burnett Show and the Sonny and Cher Show and countless others. But miraculously, CBS Television City still stands. Sorry, I have to have a drink of water while you guys bask in the glory of the glow of that gorgeous car and the Vespa. How much do we love Vespas? I know, not American, but honorary Americana. The way that gorgeous copper metallic catches the light on that windbreak front of that Vespa is just gorgeous. That beautiful car there, and of course, we're here for the Pacific Auditorium. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most iconic structures in all of Hollywood history, and it has been recreated at Disney World and California Adventure at Disneyland. This is basically it was the LA Convention Center before the Convention Center. It was right next door to Farmers Market and CBS Television City in Hollywood. And it was also featured in that movie Xanadu. You know, Xanadu. Yeah, that movie with Olivia Newton-John. Anyway, but unfortunately in about 1984, or was it 83, it was already dilapidated, but it burned one night. And that glorious streamlined facade with the 4 iconic pylons burned to the ground. But now it has been, as I said, recreated. So anyway, but I just thought I would show you a vintage photo of it. Sorry, I'm just like, anyway, I'm not sorry for finding this slide. So people call me up all the time and they say, I found slides for you. I want to give them to you. So the other day, somebody called me up and they said, I found slides for you. And, I'm like, well, what are they of or whatever? When were they taken? Are there dates on the boxes or whatever? And this person didn't know. So I'm like, okay, I'll go get them. So in the box was about 1 million out of focus pictures of dirt and this photo right here. I don't know why, but it was. Anyway, about 1950, 1949, Hollywood, Sunset Strip, the Macombo Champagne Room Restaurant Isn't that gorgeous? And that black wall. I know. It looks like it's a form of, it's like some sort of a glass. You can almost see there's a reflection in it. I mean, but it's solid. It's solid. And Jane Hutton and Larry Storch. Larry Storch might have been made famous on Hogan's Heroes, that television show that I never watched, but my brother did. And of course, that is I think that's a 51 Ford convertible. But what a glorious picture perfect shot. I love the four topiaries there against that forest green, that green color again, somewhere between a bottle green and a forest green. We need to use more of that green. It's just beautiful, and it kind of recesses when it needs to and stands out when it needs to. Love it, love it, love it. And not to mention that kind of like that warm, rich crocus chartreuse, crocus yellow / chartreuse finish on that beautiful Ford with wheels to match. I know. Oh, you wanted something a little more upscale? Fine. How about a Cadillac for 1956? Not one, but two. In the absolute perfect colors of the 50s, coral and that rich minty green. Isn't that gorgeous? I know. Anyway, we are outside of Romanoff's restaurant in Beverly Hills. Mr. Romanoff is a legend because he pretended to be like European royalty. And he just like acted like he was. He played the role. He lived his everyday life as though he was a descendant of European royalty. He dressed like it. He dressed like it. He acted like it. And this was his restaurant, and people believed him. I will never forget when I was a little kid, my grandmother, a couple of times, she told me, because I always ask her, repeat that story. Can you tell me that story again when you, whatever. But one of her stories, but I don't really remember the details, but I had her tell me a couple of times. She went to lunch at Romanoff's one time. And I mean, that was probably the most glamorous moment in her life. But anyway, she did have a Cadillac, but it was a 58, not a 56. But we're not talking about Cadillacs right now. No, there's no Cadillacs parked here. But we are talking about one of the most glorious drive-in restaurants. Speaking of drive-in restaurants, here is one right now. This is Tiny Nailers, ladies and gentlemen, built in the year of 1949, seen here in probably about 1952. Yes, it looks like a jet fighter about to take off. A jet fighter that took the form of a drive-in car hop restaurant. Absolutely beautiful. It was demolished in about 1984. 83. I'll never forget the only time that I can remember experiencing this was in 1979 when some family friends said to me, do you want to come with us to see the King Tut exhibit at the LA County Museum of Art? And I'm like, of course, because I mean, I want now, just like then, I want to see everything. I mean, whatever you're interested in or whatever you think you're interested in. So we went to see King Tut's exhibit, the King Tut exhibit. And on the way home, my friend's dad driving said, I want to go by and see if Tiny Nailers is still standing in Hollywood. So we drove by and there it was. Anyway, unfortunately, it is no longer there, but bask in the glory of the glow. Don't you love those underlights there? I know, it's like starry, starry night. Speaking of drive-throughs, drive-ups, drive-ins, this is a drive-through Nixon's. Richard Nixon's brother, Donald, had a grocery store, an ice cream stand, and a coffee shop, and a drive-through restaurant in Whittier in the 1950s. I just had to show this to you because, I mean, unexpected, right? I know. Anyway, this had to be among the very first drive-in restaurants in Southern California. Drive-through. Where you order over there, there's a lady taking the order of that pickup truck right there. Don't you love that little island of tropical plantings? I mean, tropical plantings can become the crowning touch of anything. Not to mention the slanted posts of that would never be able to pass like the building standards, building codes of today. But that wing of the restaurant, which probably has is there a table there for you to sit on? Maybe. But I love the little sign that says drive-up service and everything. But anyway, Nixon's drive-through restaurant. McDonald's started in San Bernardino in 1948. In 1952, they hired an architect in Fontana, California that said, design us a building that will attract people from a block away. They'll be able to see it. So they came up with the Golden Arches. And that is at the same time when the McDonald's brothers said, we're going to eliminate, it was a car hop restaurant to start with, but they said, we're going to eliminate the car hops, we're going to eliminate everything that requires a knife and fork to eat. That leaves us hamburgers, french fries, and milkshakes. And so they said people will walk up to the window and we are going to, basically they did for the food industry, the McDonald's brothers did for the food industry what Henry Ford did for the automotive industry. They figured out how to mass produce one thing really well, really quickly, and very much consistently, and voila, an icon was born, and not to mention a mid-century modern gorgeous building. Speaking of tacos, speaking of hamburgers, according to the legend, across the street from the original McDonald's in San Bernardino, California, the one you just saw, by the way, was I think the 4th McDonald's ever built in Arcadia. But this is Tacolita. I believe this was in San Bernardino. San Bernardino is where Taco Bell got started, and Taco Bell got started as a result of Glenn Taco Bell. He had a hamburger stand trying to copy McDonald's, and on Friday and Saturday nights he decided to serve tacos out of the side window. Well, the side window on Friday and Saturday nights was longer. They had a longer line than the hamburger window, and he just said, forget hamburgers, let's do tacos. Anyway, Tacolita, it was a chain in Southern California. There is one left in the city of Arcadia. Speaking of, I just was. Anyway, this sign is totally spectacular. It probably went like this. I know. Can you believe it? I love an animated neon sign. The orange, the yellow, the turquoise, absolutely gorgeous. As is that 1956 Mercury to match the sign. Tacos and burgers, yummy yum. Oh, you want the big donut drive-thru? You want donuts for dessert? Fine, be that way. There were 9 of these originally. 4 of them still stand. The most famous one is Randy's Donuts by LAX. And if you ask my opinion, at the end of the day, you are going to, let's have it on the record right here and now. At the end of time, we're going to realize the most important retail building of the 20th century is Randy's Donuts. So, and it's this building right here, the giant donut. It's so form follows function, and it has it all. It does everything. It walks up, you can walk up to it, you can drive up to it, and of course you can see it from a block away. And you don't even need the sign on, you know what they sell. Donuts. Oh, you want donuts, but you want them delivered to your home. Fine. Helms Bakery started in 1934. Mr. Helms was a very, ambitious man. He said, I want the biggest bread baking bakery business in all of Southern California. At one time, he had 500 trucks delivering bakery items to neighborhoods all over Southern California, from Orange County to the San Fernando Valley. I can barely remember when I was a little kid, the Helms bakery truck. It'd go toot toot or whatever, and you'd run out there, and that bakery man would come out and pull long drawers out of the back of the truck. And anyway, I know, the Helms bakery truck, it's a thing. And here is from, does it have a date on it? It does, 1953. September of 53, this is the Helmsman. This is the newsletter for all the bakery employees there. And Mr. Helms had a dream of sending bread to the moon. And, ultimately in 1969, according to the legend, when man went to the moon, on that flight was, I'm not sure if it was an entire loaf of Helms bread, but at least a piece of Helms bread went to the moon. And if you don't believe me, research it. Daily at your star. Oh my God, I love that so much. Daily at your star. Where do we begin? I know. Speaking of dairies, back in the day in Southern California, with all the orange groves, there were also dairy farms, and many of the dairy farmers, as suburban homes were being built around their dairy farms, they thought, why not capitalize on all this traffic going by? And so they built beautiful mid-century little drive-through markets, which mostly at that time sold dairy items. But this one, the Supreme Farms in Pasadena. Don't you love that sign, you guys? And that big cow up there? I know. Not to mention that 55 Pontiac, that lighting, that Starry Night lighting, the very mid-century modern brickness of it, the refrigeration cabinet there, and that little landscaping there, the lighting, everything. I know we could go on and on and on. This is Driftwood Driftwood Dairy, excellence in dairy products serving the entire San Gabriel Valley. Drifty, of course, the Mickey Mouse of the Driftwood Dairy. And I will tell you, this is about a foot long. This is original artwork that was designed to be copied into a giant billboard, and it probably was. When you went to Driftwood Dairy, the Driftwood Dairy plant, or whatever they call it, they had a little attraction for school children there. And it was Driftwood, Drifty on the moon. They were promoting the space age. I love those. I haven't really looked at this that good, but I should. Little, what does it say? Ice cream and cottage cheese. And there's one other thing there. Butter! Oh my God, that's too much for me. I love it so much. So this is outer space. So the kids looked into, little school kids on a field trip looked in there, and of course there is Drifty with a carton of milk. I wish I knew more about it. I wish there was more documentation on this, but there is not. Speaking of drive-in restaurants, Dolores's. This is in West Los Angeles. I believe this is Washington and Sepulveda. And for many years, Dolores's Drive-In stood there, and I love Dolores's Drive-In restaurant. I mean, again, very rare to find a picture of a drive-in restaurant like this. These drive-in restaurants date back to the 1920s. And then by the late 1960s, I don't think there was one still standing, as the traditional coffee shop restaurant model took over from the car hop model, which was a building pushed way back from the street that cars would circle around. You would serve people in the car. Some of them had dining rooms. Ultimately, they kind of added dining rooms and added the, well, anyway, what I was trying to say is they kind of ended up building themselves right up to the street and putting the sign up to the street instead of having it all pushed back. So anyway, oh, well, there is a sign up on the street there, a more modern sign. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. We could go on and on and on about that 57 Pontiac station wagon driving by in turquoise, but we're going to talk about the rocket ship there at Albertson Oldsmobile. Yes, Albertson Oldsmobile built in the year of 1949, and they built because Oldsmobile's icon was a rocket ship. They built a rocket ship there, which stood there for decades, up until about 15 years ago. And then all of a sudden, boom, one day, the Oldsmobile, the dealership, was gone, probably more like 20. And anyway, I went back to see what happened to the rocket, and no one was ever able to say. So I guess they just crushed it. I don't know. Speaking of crushing, this crushes me right here because I love it so much. This is the Sky Villa Motel, built in 1958 in Pico Rivera. Of course, an architectural rendering, which we love. And of all motel architectural renderings, I have never seen one that I love as much as this one. Don't you love that yellow car, convertible with fins there pulled up at the Villa Inn, the Sky Villa Inn. Anyway, it's very the epitome of Googie, very much. 2 swimming pools, rock roof, and just the palm trees as accessories, light bedding of plants everywhere, kind of bordering everything. Little islands of plantings there by the pools, and just the color, the turquoise, that rosy pink coral red, the big sign. There's a fountain out front. I don't really know exactly. I've never seen a photo of the actual structure in real life, so it probably was very similar to this, but I doubt that fountain out front was as over the top, and who knows about the sign out front. Where is there a picture of the actual Sky Villa? When I find one, I will send smoke signals up and do a show all about it. Speaking of Googie style architecture, 1959, Newport, Balboa Savings, the beginning and the later. On the right side, you see that entrance of, the boomerang, the slanted posts there, the slats as sunscreen there. I'm like been talking so much, I need a drink of water. The flagstone wall, you guys, not to mention how it's framed by the building that kind of comes out a little further on top and kind of recesses down the side there by the word Newport. The little rounded little garden there, grassy garden out front, and then right next door, behind it, they build that building, which is a sampler platter for every architectural style of the 1950s. Don't you love the folded paper roof? Paper. And I know, It says Newport Balboa Savings twice there. And don't you love the modernistic just side of the building? I mean, this is like modern art on a giant scale, enough to send my imagination and modern art loving brain into explosion mode. I know. So, by the way, I don't know if you just hear, they're drilling next door. They're like working on their house. So, sorry if you hear that. But anyway, we could go on and on and on about Newport Balboa Savings, but instead we're going to go on about Norms, built in the year of 1957. This still stands, looks virtually exactly like this to this day. It is one of the great Googie style mid-century modern structures in all of the land, all of the world. It is a masterpiece of mid-century modernity, and though not open 24 hours anymore, I don't think, you could probably get most of what you were seeing here on this menu. They still serve a little steak. Don't think they have baked potatoes anymore, but they might. Salad, soup, and 2 dinner rolls. Maybe now you just get one, I'm not sure. But I don't think you get the tomato juice anymore. But anyway, I do love Norms, and great breakfast. It is by today's standards, we'd call it a diner, but it is absolutely quintessential Los Angeles. You've not done Los Angeles until you've eaten it. Norms! Bowling was a sport that came of age in the 1950s, Southern California suburbia. More bowling sport palaces were built here than anywhere else in the known universe. And it all happened as a result of AMF, now I forgot what it stands for. Oh no, that's not good. Anyway, but I can't remember everything. But anyway, the automatic pin spotter was invented. AMF invented the automatic pin spotter, which took away that kind of seedy element of the pin spotters that had to be at the bowling alleys to reset the pins every time, which traditionally were like flunky, like teenage boys and drunky men or whatever, according to the legend. So anyway, yeah, they all disappeared, and the sport was sanitized, and they built many beautiful mid-century modern bowling palace like this. The first one, according to the legend, built in 1955, the Covina Bowl in Covina. Miraculously, most of this, the entrance and what you see there to the left of the entrance still stands. The sign still stands. The bowling alley no longer exists. They built condos there. But luckily they saved the most of the structure, and so it's kind of the bowling alley condos now. It's kind of strange, but whatever. If I lived there, I would do my entire house in the style of this, the Egyptian room, the banquet facility there at the bowling alley, which traditionally bowling alleys back in the day had a coffee shop, a bar, a nursery, some had a barber shop and a beauty salon, and virtually many of them, if they had a coffee shop, many of them had banquet facilities, and this is the banquet facility. First of all, the ceiling, I mean, is that a black square with like little polka dots, perforated, holes in it? So the lighting, I mean, that's outer space age lighting. That's a lot of detail up there, which I absolutely love. Not to mention the turquoise and coral orange color palette, spellbinding, the house plants. Don't you love that carpet? Don't you love those chairs? I know, those look like kitchen chairs, you guys. Those are like dinette chairs, but I mean, when you start mixing and matching the colors like that, you cannot go wrong. I know. Hieroglyphics on the wall. This is the Egyptian room after all. And in that room, I'll never forget how thrilled I was the day that I found this slide, because I'm like, there's no question of where it could be. This is the Covina Bowl. And don't you love these women here? It's like the Wednesday afternoon women's bowling league banquet. Oh, I know. I mean, who knows what association this could be? They're having a banquet. But I absolutely love that woman's hat, don't you? I know. And the lady pinning her on another day at that same bowling alley, having lunch, baked potato, peas, looks like a steak. I love the restaurant china. I love the basket full of crackers, that big sugar, the salt and pepper there, everything else, the shape of that glass, the shapely little water glass. I know. Again, those chairs. Don't you love the curtains in that gold metallic? Yes, Lurex threads. Thank you, Japan, for inventing Lurex. We love it. The rock wall. Oh, wait, that's the woman. Oh, wait. The woman who is pinning the lady is the lady lighting this woman's cigarette. I'm like out of my mind. Anyway, she has roses in her hair and a little afternoon, like kind of low-end tweed suit. I love it. So much, probably bought it here at Sears. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Sears. This is the Sears that I grew up with in Pomona, built in the year of 1954 by one of the architectural firms in Southern California that is one of my favorites, that gets no glory, has no fame, no recognition, and is one of the most unfamous names in the realm of the great names in mid-century Southern California architecture, Styles Clements. Yes, everything that, I don't know about everything he did in the 1950s, but typically very much what I would call Southern California casual style. It's almost like, this looks almost like a backyard barbecue had a baby with a department store building. Yes, topped with the American and the California flag and accessorized by a pair of twin palms. This is mid-century modernity meets Sears meets Don't You Love, SEARS. Here it is, even bigger. I know, look how big it is. It's taller than the front door. Here it is, way bigger. This is the North Hollywood Sears, also built in 1954, Valley Plaza. That SEARS, that S literally is like 2 stories tall. Signage never got more super than that. This must be opening day, and there's a bus full of people there. There's looks like a 55 Ford station wagon there with a fake wood trim, which we love, of course. And it looks like a title on a giant movie screen. Speaking of, the Olympic Drive-In was the first drive-in built in Southern California, 1930s. This is the later screen edition that they built, or they redid the screen tower there and put some surfers there. And how much do we love surfing in Southern California? Go together like a match made in heaven. Surfing, surfing, surfing. Unfortunately, surfers didn't take a lot of pictures, so let this be your reference to surfing and sailing in Southern California, because it is a surfing capital of, the United States. Well, besides Hawaii, of course. And then sailing, we do a lot of sailing, but we're not talking about sailing right now. We are paying homage to the Southern California missions. Here is the Santa Barbara mission on the screen tower of the Valley Drive-In movie theater built in Montclair, California, the year 1948. I have to take a drink. This was my childhood drive-in movie theater. Anyway, we didn't really go to the drive-in that much, but we did go there sometimes. And what I remember mostly about it was when you went to the drive-in, on the left side, lining the left side was what they call Monkey Land. And the family that owned the drive-in also collected monkeys. And they had these giant cages full of monkeys, you guys, a wide variety of different monkeys. And you'd go feed the monkeys before the movie if you didn't go to the playground up front. I know. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you about it, we used to drive by this drive-in movie theater all the time. And it kind of haunted me because you can see there's an ox cart there, and the wheels on the ox cart were animated to make them look like they were going around. There's a river there, and the water flowed in the river. It was amazing. And it was in neon. Did I mention this was neon? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, and that's the Santa Barbara mission there. But there's a priest on the left side. You can see him there. And the only thing that was really blue on the whole thing was the Bible that he was holding. And one night we went by and the blue neon Bible was burned out. And I just thought, oh, well, I'm not sure what that means, but that's heavy. You better fix that Bible. Anyway, so here it is at night. This is one of the few color images of the Valley Drive-In movie theater built in 1948 that is in color. So you can get an idea of what the neon mural looks like. Did I mention it was the world's largest neon mural, they claimed at the time? Unfortunately, it stood between 1948 and about 1984 when they bulldozed it and built a Dodge dealership, which lasted for like 5 years. Anyway, it was also surrounded by orange groves. So where do we begin? Oh, fine. Why don't we talk about the Orange Show in San Bernardino, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, indeed, the 40th National. And yeah, I just had to show you this billboard because I love, love, love it so much. I just love the art direction of it. I love the shape of it. Don't you love the posts? Are those kind of shapely things like that? It's very geometric. The round corners, the 3 dimension of the dimension of the frame, and that big stand-away orange with the dates on it, the leaves going like this, the other leaves down here like that, the shape of the backboard of Orange Show, the stripes, and the little Orange Show man himself. He has a top hat and a cane, like, you know, it's a little showbiz, a little like soft shoe for you. I feel the rhythm of this billboard, yes I do. But we're not going to go to the Orange Show in San Bernardino, the San Bernardino County Fair. We are going to the Los Angeles County Fair, seen here in the year of 1939. This is the Grand Midway. Indeed, it is in every way. The elephant tram there was recycled and repurposed from the 1939-40 San Francisco World's Fair. And I know, don't you love it? And that's a 59 Pontiac police car there, the cafeteria building, those pylon flags going all the way down there to the fun zone, and of course the grandstands for the horse racing there. I love it, love it, love it. This is there's those pylons on the bottom of this multi-exposure shot. Again, just one of the slides that I found by the same guy that did the Chinatown multi-exposure shot in one frame. I know, I've been collecting for a long time. I found a lot of amazing images. Anyway, these, you can see the pylons there at night that we just saw during the day, and then multi-exposure of the Toad in the Hole restaurant, which was there for decades at the LA County Fair, and the area where they had sporting events with that fisherman guy there. I love the fish, the two red fish. I love their eyes, and the fishing line in neon. Genius. I know. And of course, for the Toad in the Hole, it says the aristocrat of foods. The Toad in the Hole, right in the middle there, you can kind of see it. Basically what the Toad in the Hole is I know it's a baked potato with a small piece of filet mignon. I don't know if it has gravy in it or not, but anyway, it sounds delicious, doesn't it? I know. The Toad in the Hole no longer served there, sorry. And of course, this outrageous shot from 1955 from the LA County Fair, judging the beauty queens. You can see the crown and her velvet cape there with the ermine there on the table in front. But what's bizarre about this photo, as if it's not bizarre enough, is the guy in the middle. So I was doing one of my slideshows at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood like 20 years ago, and somebody came up to me after a show and said, that shot that you showed, well, actually it was published in one of my books. I wasn't showing the shot in my show, but in one of my books, Southern California in the 50s, which is no longer in print, but it should be. But anyway, that guy in the middle, they said, I know that guy. He has a modeling agency in Pasadena, and his name is William Adrian, and you should go meet him. So I did. I went to meet, and this was 40 years later, and he was like an old man that had this modeling agency. And I used to go there and just listen to it, ask him to tell me stories and stuff. And he had a photographic memory. I love old people. I love old people even more, the ones that have photographic memories and can just talk and talk and talk and tell stories about their life and everything. And he was such an interesting man. William Adrian Modeling Agency of Pasadena. His big claim to fame was he discovered Cheryl Tiegs. And he said, I'll never forget her father. He was an undertaker. He acted like one too. That's what he said, which just killed me, of course. Speaking of the LA County Fair in 1958, John Svensson, a local sculptor, designed this monorail for the Los Angeles County Fair. Ultimately, 4 years later, they had the big dedication with vice president, then I think, no, he was former Vice President Richard Nixon, and soon to be president. And anyway, but I just wanted to show you, I love monorails. I love everything to do with monorails. They were predicted to revolutionize transportation, but ultimately they were destined only for theme parks and World's Fairs. So high class by any county fair standards, the LA County Fair got the monorail. And I'm not sure how long they lasted there, probably till about the 70s. And then they replaced these incredible pontoon, kind of giant trailer-shaped cars with the windows with these square ones, and then they went away quickly thereafter. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about hot dog art. Whoever painted that hot dog up there, unbelievable. That it just looks completely real. That bun looks like it hasn't been toasted yet or whatever. That hot dog, the shadowing, the highlight. I mean, the low light, the highlight. Oh, perfect. That tone of pink. I know, where do we begin? Bubble up, hot dogs, burgers, Schlitz, Bergie on draft, Carnation, that's ice cream, Hires root beer. I want it all. I know. And then the lady playing the saxophone out there, which is a toy that they just bought or whatever. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure I want to know what's going on, but you want a hot dog? Fine. You got to go to the Tail of Pup. Built in 1946. I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the Tail of the Pup is the most famous hot dog stand in the known universe. It is the greatest hot dog stand in the known universe. And I will tell you, as I may have mentioned before, you guys, I just cannot overstate it or understate it. A miracle happened in just last year after a 17-year absence of not being open for business, and this hot dog building, it's an actual little building. The hot dog itself went away into hiding, but now is back in LA. Tail of the Pup is open for business. It is iconic Los Angeles. You have not done Los Angeles until you've done the Tail of the Pup or hot dog on a stick at Santa Monica Pier. There are locations around in food courts of malls or whatever, if there are any malls left. Hot dog on a stick, 1946. I mean, if you love hot dogs, you're going to love hot dog on a stick even more. That cornbread batter is like grandma's recipe, according to the legend. Not only do you have, I'm going to go get a hot dog on a stick tonight. After this, I deserve one. There is one in the Glendale Galleria, and I'm going to get the low sugar lemonade, which, you know, I mean, hot dog on a stick, you guys. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but we're going to talk about right now, oh dear, I better take another drink of water. Pacific Ocean Park, you guys. This was a nautical pleasure pier that was got repurposed into a theme park in 1958 between Santa Monica and Venice. And this is the entrance as it was imagined to be by the designers. Waterfalls. You walked over the water and you went into Neptune's kingdom, and they entered on the other side. You walked out from that into this long pier of attractions. And so here it is in theory, and here is the actual, you really did walk over water, and this structure is spellbinding. It is a masterpiece of mid-century modernity. It's kind of like Spider Legs meets the LAX theme building. And I don't know about you, but those 3 spinning clear seahorses just knocked me out. It says POP up there. That's Pacific Ocean Park. Not to mention the emerald green, turquoise blue, and, or do you call that peacock blue? And, excuse me, sorry. It's live. It's really live, you guys. There's no retakes here. Those plastic orbs, bubbles floating up. I mean, look at that gorgeous mid-century modern ticket booth there. You walk over to the left here, turn around, and this is what you see. That's an old apartment building. I mean, it was right there in Santa Monica. Boom, you're from your apartment building right there on the pier. And this is the grand entrance. And there's Neptune, a very mid-century modern, huge structure in the fountain. Bubbles over there, people taking it in. Once you get inside, there's all kinds of attractions. We could go on and on. Flight to Mars. Very much wanted to be like the Disneyland at sea, but unfortunately, this Pacific Ocean Park only lasted 9 years. But anyway, Flight to Mars is kind of like Flight to Moon at Disneyland. But the most over-the-top attraction there was the these bubbles that was like the Skyway at Disneyland, only they were round bubbles, and they had windows, you know, up here and down here to look through. And of course, you can see a roller coaster there, which is left over from the early days of this pleasure pier. But I love those bubbles so much. Here is, again, you can see part of the roller coaster there. Some probably pretty politically incorrect things on the wall. Sorry, I didn't mean for you to see those. Mother and daughter dressed alike in line for this crazy octopus ride, which looks like a lot of fun. I love the beatnik style of the octopus. Yeah, I know. And then if you like that, you'll love this. Indeed, you will. This is, ladies and gentlemen, a whale of a tale. This is Fisherman's Fiesta in San Pedro back in the day. Every year, the fishermen there in San Pedro, they would dress up their fishing boats and have a parade. And I'm sorry that I don't have more images of the Fisherman's Fiesta, but what could be better than a giant boat disguised as a whale with a giant mermaid and look at all the people on there. So that gives you the scale of the boat. Southern California in the 50s. As I said, the mood is up, prosperity rules, and the standard of living is flying high. And if you wanted to do that on a car, this would be the perfect car. A 1951 Nash pulled right up front. at a Foster's Freeze, old-fashioned hamburgers, malts, root beer, shakes. You guys, Foster's Freeze was really Southern California's ultimate version of the soft serve stand. And anyway, there's still a Foster's Freeze. There are several still left. There's one right by me that pretty much still looks just like this. Well, almost, close. They still have the old neon sign and everything. I should be showing it to you right now. But instead, we're going to Marineland Oceanarium, built in the year of 1954. This is the ultimate, well, it's like the Seaquarium. It's where you go see, well, it's ocean life brought to you in this giant aquarium, as you can see it there. But on the left is the Marineland restaurant, which is the reason why I'm showing you all of this in the first place, because Mr. Foster of Foster's Freeze opened up Marineland's restaurant, which, by the way, we might as well get it out in the open, the most spectacular restaurant ever built in Southern California, anywhere in the United States. I mean, maybe even in the world. This is the lounge. So it was 3 round buildings. This is the lounge building. This is the porpoise room. And those are glass walls. You were looking at the sunset over the ocean. And where do we begin to behold the glory of how gorgeous seashells on the ceiling. Sorry, I have to take another drink of water. Just take this in for a minute. I know. That padding, that upholstered bar, tuck and roll, tuck and roll, tuck and roll. Oh, I know. And I love like the turquoise padding for your elbows there. The ties, the vests, Anyway, this is the porpoise room, and here is the dining room. I'm sorry that the bright light of the ocean just whitewashed out those giant floor-to-ceiling windows, but you can see this room also has the seashells on the ceiling. I love seashells on the ceiling. I mean, let this be an inspiration to you. Oh, I know. And, of course, the furniture, the people, and on a clear day, you could see Catalina Island. And here we are now in the village of Avalon, which still virtually looks at a distance just like this. Yes, seen here in the year of 1955. The crowning touch is, of course, the casino building, not really a casino, but a meeting place with an Art Deco movie palace and a ballroom upstairs. And it is absolutely a time capsule of divine design perfection in every classic way. A Southern California icon of the highest order. Avalon is a picture-perfect, precious time capsule where time has not virtually stood still, but almost. And it is a great place to spend the day, spend the weekend, to have an overnighter, and to bask in the glory of the glow of the legend and the lore of Catalina. There's so much history there. It's so unusual, so unique. And in the middle there, you can see the boat, the SS Catalina. There it is right there. Yes, it is. Anyway, this boat ran from 1954 to 1975. And anyway, this is how you got back and forth from the mainland to Catalina. Back then, this boat took 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. Today, they have speed catamarans. It takes you about 55 minutes to get back and forth. And I love Catalina. Go there as often as possible. On that boat is where you're going to find Catalina Cappy. Catalina Cappy, you guys. I mean, as if your life isn't good enough already. Back in the day when you went in Southern California in the 50s, you got to meet up with Catalina Cappy. I mean, where do we begin? Full white pancake. I mean, the shoes, that suit, that collar, it's kind of like, well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, well, I shouldn't say it. Never mind. But don't you love the cabana sets? The kids have the cabana sets on. One wears a sock with his little sandal, the other does not. But more power to cabana suit wearers. Indeed. Oh, if we're talking about the ocean, the seashore, we got to talk about this in Newport Beach, the Beachcomber shop. I mean, when is the last time you ever, or have you ever? I have not, and that's why we're talking about, first of all, the boat as the entrance. I love everything in the windows. This would be a perfect place for you to get a cabana set, not to mention the perfect place for you to stand back and behold the glory and bask in the glow of the Beachcomber shop signage. I mean, swimsuits, sea togs, come in, look, see, it says topsiders, women's duds, men's togs. I mean, does it say, oh, booty? Something booty? Kids stuff, shoes. I mean, it goes on and on, you guys. I mean, written in rope, which is what I did not say. Written in rope. I love anything written in rope. I do. And speaking of the seashore in Southern California, this is the Pike. Ladies and gentlemen, in Long Beach, there once was, from like the last turn of the century to 1969, stood this roller coaster. Yes, built in 1930. The Pike was an amusement area in Long Beach on the shore that started in the late 1890s. In 1930, they built a Cyclone Racer, which was a twin track, which is rare, I think, in roller coaster world. A twin track where they raced each other. And anyway, it is famously legendary for anybody of a certain age that grew up in Southern California. The Pike, the Cyclone Racer there. Anyway, we could go on and on and on about that. But look, over there is this giant thing holding up these bubbles. Well, those bubbles are actually cages that you can ride up in. And this trio of fantastic people, you can just tell, just by their, look at the love in those faces. They're having a good time. They're in Long Beach up in one of those cages overlooking the downtown Long Beach by the shore there. If they look down, they see this. This is part of the amusement area there at the Pike. Most of the Pike history has been long washed away. Most of it got bulldozed in the late 1960s when they bulldozed the roller coaster. Some of it stayed for a little bit into the later 70s, but then it all got bulldozed. But you guys, so here are some of the rides and stuff. And I mean, it had it all. And then this is the Midway. There's the Lido ballroom there on the left. You can see the of ballroom there. And then the cotton candy stand, the Strand movie theater, scooter ball, Light-A-Line, which is a game of chance like gambling. That still does exist in Long Beach, though for how much longer, I'm not sure, but not on the original site. Fried shrimp, I want some right now. I love fried shrimp, don't you? Prize shooting. So this was like, before we had Disneyland and stuff. I mean, this is a place where you go and experience rides and many different things. Anyway, and then, what was I going to tell you about it though? There was one more thing I wanted to mention. Now I'm spacing out. But, I know. I'm so glad I remembered. There's one thing that stands in place at the Pike to this day. And it is the oldest tattoo parlor in the United States. So there were tattoo parlors here and everything. I mean, by all standards, it was pretty seedy. Basically, when I was growing up as a child, I used to listen to my dad and my uncles all brag about how when they were little kids, they would go, they all grew up near the beach. They would ride the red car to the Pike, unbeknownst to their parents, and hang out for a few hours and then ride the red car back home. I heard so many of those stories when I was a child and loved them. But anyway, the one thing that is still in place at the Pike, one thing and one thing only, everything else is gone, is the oldest tattoo parlor in the United States. It's called Outer Limits, and it is a museum and a tattoo parlor, a tattoo museum. So I highly recommend it. I've been there several times, and they're always like, are you here to get a tattoo? And I'm like, no, I just want to just hang out here. And they're like, okay. And then they give me the royal tour and everything. It's wonderful. But Disneyland came along in 1955. And if the Pike wasn't already considered to be a low standard kind of place where servicemen would hang out on their time off and everything, it was a little sadder. As it would be. Disneyland came along, and that was the final nail in the coffin, and it just really went down from there. But anyway, the Pike history is very interesting, as is the history of Disneyland, as is the glory of this unbelievably gorgeous, multicolored kind of Mondrian meets a theme park signage. I almost said amusement park. Disneyland never wanted to be called an amusement park. Anyway, don't you love the fake flags blowing in the breeze there and everything? Anyway, sorry, I keep saying whoa, I know. Okay, let me just calm down. This is a bird's eye view of Disneyland in 1959. In a very brief time, between when the Matterhorn was built in 1959, 4 years after Disneyland opened. They added the Matterhorn, and they also still have Holidayland there, which is that portion there with that big striped tent and grass area. There's a baseball diamond. This was an attempt to get corporate Southern California to bring all of their employees to Disneyland, and why they didn't think the Disneyland itself was enough of an entertainment experience. They had another whole experience for them. You could play baseball, have picnics, and do all kinds of activities like burlap sack races. Anyway, and who knows all what inside that tent and everything else. But Disneyland, you can see there on the lower, or kind of the middle on the left, that is Adventureland. That is the Jungle Cruise. You can see the rivers of the world there. You can see the Mark Twain there. And of course, the Matterhorn over on the upper right is Tomorrowland. And we will visit them all right now, but not first, before we see the icon, the centerpiece, and the crowning touch of Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty's Castle, which at the time when it was built in 1955, anticipated the release of Sleeping Beauty in the year of 1959. Among the original attractions at Disneyland was one of the greats, still there to this day. And it's just, they keep plussing it, and it's just, there's no such thing as going to Disneyland without going on and experiencing the Jungle Cruise. Absolutely spectacular. Another of the original attractions from day one at Disneyland is, of course, Mark Twain, the first paddle wheeler built in the United States in 50 years. And, you have not done Disneyland until you have ridden around the rivers of America on the Mark Twain. You can even ask to drive it too. There's a whole story to go along with that, and it's fun, and I highly recommend it. You can get up there, you get a certificate when you're done that says, I drove the Mark Twain. And don't you love the little family here and everything? I know. We could go on about their outfits, but the best part of the kids have matching tops, a little boy and a little girl. Matchy, matchy, matchy. The world needs more matching clothing. Another one of the original attractions that no longer exists at Disneyland and Frontierland were the covered wagons and the Conestogas and stagecoaches, Conestoga wagons and the stagecoaches. They only lasted about 4 years because they kept tipping over, but you got to ride up top there and everything, or inside. And don't you love the font, that rustic font spelling out exit? I know. Speaking of, don't you love the teacups, you guys? Where do we begin to behold the glory? Yes, indeed you do. The teacups, again, one of the original attractions at Disneyland, enduring to this very day. No such thing as doing Disneyland without doing the teacups. For 10 years, between 1957 and 1967, is where you would find at the entrance of Tomorrowland, between Tomorrowland and the castle. This is the House of the Future, a walkthrough exhibit that, showed us how plastics were going to revolutionize the way we live. What's unusual about this home of the future that you see here is that it still looks futuristic. They need to bring it back. We are ready to have the House of the Future back at Disneyland. Please, if you bring anything, bring this back. Make a movie about it. Do anything. I know. And here is the original Tomorrowland, which was at the time promoted as the World in 1986. And there you see the giant clock of the world there. American Motors sponsored the Circarama, the movie in the round, which later became the America the Beautiful, which gave me the pride of gave me American pride, because it taught me about Americana, classic Americana. It's my favorite movie of all time. America the Beautiful at Disneyland. The movie in the round, 9 screens. It was overwhelming. I need to see it again. It's been decades. And then, of course, Monsanto's Hall of Chemistry, a walkthrough exhibit which showed us how chemicals were going to change the way we lived. And in the background there, the TWA rocket to the moon. And here is a misty morning at Disneyland, and that is a close-up of the TWA rocket to the moon and the flight to the moon ride. I think there were 2 theaters there, one building. Talk about mid-century modern architecture. I've never seen wrap-aroundy round buildings like this, but I think there was basically 2 theaters, and while one was playing, the other loaded or whatever. You know how it goes at Disneyland, but there it is. And I know, it's just like feast your senses on the original Tomorrowland. Also in the original Tomorrowland was Autopia. And I don't know about you, but I remember as a child not quite being tall enough to ride Autopia and waiting for the day that I finally got to drive the miniature highway, one of those little Autopia cars. And basically, if you grew up in Southern California, this is where you learn to operate a motor vehicle. Absolutely, yes, totally in every way. 1959, the omnibus pictures or banners on its side, 6 new attractions at Disneyland for 1959. Among them, as what we saw before in that bird's eye shot, the Matterhorn, ladies and gentlemen. The original Matterhorn, of course, is in Switzerland. This is 1/100th the scale of the original Matterhorn. The buckets went through it. The bobsled ride was the first roller coaster ride in Disneyland. And according to the legend, the first steel tube roller coaster ride ever. And of course, how many times we've been on the Matterhorn? I mean, on the Matterhorn bobsleds. We never said Matterhorn bobsleds. We always just say the Matterhorn. Let's ride the Matterhorn, never the Matterhorn bobsleds. But from now on, I'm going to say properly the Matterhorn bobsleds. And of course, also in 1959, unexpected by any standards of themed environmental entertainment, Disneyland built a subway. What am I saying? Submarine. Not subway. Subterranean, yes, in water. These are actual, authentic, real submarines. They didn't go total submerge, but anyway, they submerged you enough so you could be underwater. And I mean, when you rode this, as you still do to this day, because this attraction is still there, your mind exploded because you cannot believe you're actually on a real submarine. A little claustrophobic, but it doesn't matter because you're loving it so much. And speaking of loving it so much and your mind exploding, where do we begin to behold the glory of this? This is the ultimate monorail system ever in the known universe. The most beautiful, the most futuristic, the most timeless classic mass transit system ever built. In 1959, along with the Matterhorn and the submarines came this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Disneyland Alweg monorail system. And to this day, there is a monorail system at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And every time I go there, I behold the glory of it all. Southern California in the 50s. This could go on. It could turn into a series. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, this slide was marked my ride to and from Disneyland, going back to LA Airport now. I love the bus, I love the lady, I love everything about it. Gray Line Tours. LAX, here it is. As imagined, the new LAX of 1961, it would finally come to pass. This illustration of the theme building done in 1958, where it is the era where Southern California is the center of the universe. All eyes are on this creative, industrial, agricultural, entertainmental, and more giant of culture, of life, of legend, of landmark, of space, of place. And that then there concludes, ladies and gentlemen, Southern California in the 50s. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you again for your support and making it possible for me to do more and more and more and more. Behold the glory of Southern California in the 50s and you. Yes, you. Thank you again. Goodbye, everybody.